right? Are we recording? Yes, we are. Yeah. Let's do this like Brutus. Check the time here. What's up, guys? It is 2018, and it is July, which means E3 came and went once again. And a happy belated July 4th to everyone. Hope you guys had a great holiday. If you were working, my condolences. If you weren't, I hope you made the most out of it and I hope you had some fun. So, I am here to once again talk about some E3 footage, or to make some E3 footage and talk about E3 once while making that footage. Little tradition I like to do every year. I've been doing this, I think this is like the 6th year I've been doing this shit, whatever it is I do here. So, you know, I figured I'd keep this up and have it at least one constant thing on my YouTube channel here that I just don't have time to get to anymore. You know, rumor has it that a full-time job and having a family, having a 2-year-old son, kind of takes up a very large chunk of your time. And of course I'm playing games, and of course I'm doing other shit, trying to figure things out just like everybody else, but I got a cell phone. Finally upgraded my cell phone after 4 fucking years. Went ahead and got the Google Pixel 2 XL. Love this phone. This shit is like space age technology when, you know, you're a fucking idiot like me and had to put up with using a Windows phone for 4 years. I like the idea of Windows Phone, but Microsoft it made it seem like a complete blunder the longer it went on. I don't know if they were silently trying to kill it with updates as you know, time went on with that phone. But the tech is great, the hardware is great. I mean, the phone I was using is still good. It's just that Windows Phone is like a wasteland when it comes to apps. And it just got buggy, and the battery life started going, though I think that's more of a fault of the operating system updates than the battery itself. Because sometimes it would drain faster, other times it wouldn't. It was really fucking weird. So yeah, I went ahead and, you know, I don't want to say pretty much all the every place that's selling this phone is having a fire sale on it, but a pretty significant discount. This is like $300 off. So I went ahead and got that. I was debating for a long time between the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus and the iPhone 10 that recently just came out. And there's things I liked about both, but then I went to Verizon, and Verizon, you know, they said this was going on sale, and I actually had my eye on this phone for a couple years. So I ended up getting that because, I mean, the iPhone 10 I wanted the 256 gig, would have cost me almost $50 a month. The Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus would have cost me you know, about $40 a month, and for $30 a month I chose this because it was Android, and I haven't had a proper Android phone. I had an iPhone 4. I had no problems with iOS, but don't really know how much I like iOS until I've used an Android phone for a couple years, so I went ahead and got that. So, but you're not here for cell phone reviews, you're here for E3 notes, if you're here at all. If you're tuning into this, thank you very much for tuning in. But that's my little cell phone rant there. I'm like, why the fuck would I pay an extra $10 a month for Samsung bloatware and an SD card slot I don't really need? Because this has unlimited storage for your photos if you take it with this device, and it's 128 gigs anyway, which is plenty of space for apps, music, and movies. So I got a Google Pixel. I love it so far. But yeah, within the span of a week, I upgraded my cell phone. Got that all set up, got my apps all set up, transferred my videos and music from my old phone, found the packaging for my old phone, the box and the manual and the charger and everything, threw it on eBay, sold it, shipped it out. That happened all within less than a week. You know, got about $100 for my Windows phone, which is great. I mean, otherwise it's just going to sit around and do nothing. So hey, got a little bit of a discount towards the case and stuff I got for this. Anyway, E3 2018. This E3 was a bit weird. It was a bit on the shallow side, or at least it seemed that way. After thinking about it for a little bit, a lot of stuff got leaked this year, and like excuse me, the 2 or 3 weeks that was leading up to E3, I just realized I pulled out a bottle of water to bring in here and drink while I'm doing this, and I forgot to bring it in. God damn it. Anyway, I run a professional show here, guys. Anyway, yeah, a lot of stuff leaked in the weeks leading up to E3, which kind of took the magic out of it. I guess if you want to be one of those to make an argument that E3 still has some kind of magic nowadays, which I think it does a little bit, not nearly as much as it did, but yeah, a lot of stuff leaked. But before I get to that, the number one thing on the list here, speaking of belated events that happened, I want to give a quick condolences out to John Bain. We lost Total Biscuit earlier this year, and I know this is, ancient news compared to, how fast and free-flowing gaming news goes in and out of our lives every day, but I didn't follow the guy's work a lot. I know that a lot of people respected him, and that's enough for me. I've never read a bad thing about the guy. 33 years old, man. That's as tragic as what happened to him is. That's, I think, the most tragic thing of all. And reading a news snippet here and there, reading a tweet here and there, I think he kind of knew it was coming, and he just didn't know when it was going to happen. He was going to retire from reviewing games and being in the video game business as we know it. But I don't think anyone knew it was going to come this fast. 33 years old, that really hits home to my generation. I'm going to be 35 towards the end of this year, so that's a mind fuck. It really is. Condolences to his family, condolences to his fans, the ones that really followed his work. Yeah, it sucks. I really don't know what else to say about that, but I felt like, I had to say something about that. So, with that being said, speaking of video games, we can get right into the leaks of E3. And this was all before the show even came up. So first we have Rage 2 got announced, which, if you were going to bet the farm on sequels id Software and Bethesda was working on and funding and developing and all that, Rage 2 would probably be near the bottom of most people's lists. They got their Fallout, they got their Elder Scrolls, they got Doom, they got Wolfenstein, they got all those games under the same umbrella now. And Rage, I haven't played much of it. I bought it recently to play it because since it works on Xbox One, it's one of the 360 backward compatible titles. Everything I've seen about it, which I admit is pretty little, but it seemed just like a tech demo sort of thing. Excuse me. Didn't seem like a really substantial game. Didn't seem that way. Maybe I'm wrong about it from people who played it. But Rage 2, I don't think that was high on anyone's lists. I check the internet pretty much daily, and I've never seen one person say, hey, can we, I wonder if they could just make a Rage 2. I've never seen that. But hey, for those 4 people out there that want it somewhere, that are hiding in the shadows, wish fucking granted, you're getting Rage 2. But more about that in Bethesda's conference proper. Stalker 2 is apparently going to be a thing. If you remember the Stalker games, Shadow of Chernobyl, and a couple expansions, PC games. That's coming in 2021, I guess. Even some people that are apparently supposed to be close to this project or close to this announcement didn't even know about that when the announcement was made. So, leak of a leak? I don't know. But apparently Stalker 2's coming someday. Maybe we'll get to play it in the next 3 or 4 years. I don't know. Battlefield 5 or Battlefield V, based on who you're following, because I remember it was either DICE's Twitter or EA's Twitter was saying Battlefield, it's actually Battlefield V, because V for victory, because that was one of the famous slogans out of World War II after the world ended. It was the whole initiative for us to, the U.S. to push into Europe and eventually win the war. But I don't know if it's Battlefield 5, Battlefield V, whatever. It was already leaked that there's going to be no premium pass. I think it's going to have a currency system similar to Call of Duty World War II, where it has virtual fun bucks that you earn through in-game assignments and stuff, and then you can unlock stuff through there. I'm not entirely sure about that. Battlefield 5. Of course, I'm going to talk more about it when we get into the notes here, but that was announced. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which is an 8-bit prequel to Ritual of the Night, the Kickstart game that's eventually supposed to come out this year. Really, really cool. Shades of Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Pretty much everyone who played the game and downloaded it is pretty much raved about it. So, hopefully you can't fuck up a Castlevania-esque 8-bit game too much. There's stuff to go off of. There's templates to use. The Castlevania 8-bit games were good. So, there's rumors of a Sunset Overdrive PC release. I guess it got rated in North Korea or something like that. One of those countries over in the Far East. I'd like to see it happen. I mainly game on Xbox, but I'm not some console warrior guy who's going to be like, no, Sunset Overdrive is ours, no one else can have it, I've had it. I haven't gotten really a chance to play it a lot. What I've played of it was good, but yeah, it makes sense for it to eventually to be on PC, so that'd be cool, but nothing concrete as of yet. There's an N64 Mini that's rumored because Nintendo filed a couple of new patents a few weeks ago, which I guess it could be actually a little over a month ago now of this taping. I don't really see why not, unless they have some weird issues come up with making the control stick for the controller. I don't see why they would, because it's basically their controller. If they run into some weird issue with the parts of making the controllers feel authentic, or some part of the system, be authentic, or some trouble securing the titles, which I really don't think they would. But the N64 had a lot of third-party support, so they might have to wheel and deal if they want some of the heavy hitters on the N64 to be out. But nothing concrete on that as of yet either, but I don't see why it couldn't happen. So we'll see about that. Far Cry 5's first DLC was released, called Hours of Darkness, which takes place in Vietnam. That was leaked. New Switch bundle in Japan without the dock. This was rumored to be a new hardware revision. They are making a new hardware revision. I think it's codenamed Mariko, I think is the name. Something like that. But that's supposed to be the rumored hardware revision that is supposed to stop the hardware exploit through NVIDIA's hardware in the initial runs of the console that people can use to make find an exploit through it to run unauthorized software and run pirated software, no matter what firmware the system is on, because at a hardware level, it really doesn't matter what you do with the software. If that hardware is there and you can't patch that hardware without new hardware, there's no way to fix it. So they're rumored, I don't know if this specific system without the dock is supposed to be Mariko, but I know they're looking into it, and I know they're going to release new hardware by this point very soon. Definitely by the end of the year, I'd say. H1Z1, the big open world action game, debuted on PS4, and it already had over 1 million players. This was as of about a month ago, so I'm sure it has even more. That's cool to see. Madden NFL 19 was announced. Comes out August 10th. Whoop-de-doo. NBA 2K19 has also been announced, and this is the game's 20th anniversary because the original NBA 2K came out on Dreamcast in 1999 with the system. Comes out this September. I think that date might have changed. It might be October now. It might still be September. I don't know. I have a more concrete date in here somewhere. Mega Man 11 was announced to come out on October 2nd, so that got a more concrete release date. New Pokemon RPG is coming to the Nintendo Switch next year. Nintendo went into detail with that. where it's a Let's Go Pokemon, Let's Go Eevee. It's like a double release, like Pokemon Red and Blue back in the Game Boy days was. That's coming out next year. There's more details about that, but it's pretty much a 3D RPG. Kingdom Hearts 3 was confirmed to be playable at E3. We finally got a release date on Kingdom Hearts 3, but I'll get to that. New limited edition blue PS4 hardware available. PlayStation did this promotion during the week of E3 called the Days of Play or for Summer or something like that, and they released a console to coincide with this. It's a blue console with the PlayStation symbols. I believe they're in gold, and this was a limited edition hardware bundle they released. It's $300. Has a 1 terabyte hard drive, and it looked pretty decent. So if you wanted to grab a limited edition PS4, that was the time to do it. I don't think it was a Pro. It might have just been a normal one. I'm not entirely sure. Suda51's console cult classic Killer 7 is going to come to PC this fall. This is confirmed. It's going to be on Steam this fall. Killer 7, I think, was on the GameCube and the PS2, if I remember right. So if you haven't played that and you have a PC, you don't have much excuse to not play it now. Fallout 76 is, of course, the new famous Fallout title that's coming out. Rumored it was supposed to be a battle royale type game like H1Z1. It was confirmed to be multiplayer this time around. The big news with Fallout 76 is this time, instead of NPCs when you're traveling in the open world, it's supposed to be a prequel, and every person you're supposed to see is actually going to be controlled by a person. That's basically what Todd Howard was talking about during the conferences. Sonic Team Racing was announced. Okay. Coming later this year for all modern platforms, it will be playable at E3. Gameplay video that I watched, it shows off colorful graphics like you'd expect from the Sonic Racing series. And obscure characters such as Big the Cat from Knuckles Chaotix, if you didn't know that. A little Sonic trivia for you there. Comes out this winter for all modern platforms. Yeah, I've said that. Basically all modern consoles, Switch, Xbox One, PS4, also a PC release. That's what I mean by modern platforms. Yeah, sure looks like a racing game, I guess. I mean, if you're jonesing for a new Sonic racing game, if you like that Sonic Racing All-Stars Transformed, whatever the fuck it's called, for the 360 and PS3, I think it was also on PC. This is kind of the sequel to that. The PS3 Yakuza remasters are for PS4. Apparently Yakuza Kiwami and Yakuza Kiwami 2. I'm not sure if Kiwami 2 is out yet. I think it comes out next month, actually, in August. I guess they were doing well enough here in the States that, Sony basically said, okay, well, let's remaster the rest of the Yakuza series, which is great. Though that kind of leaves out Dead Souls, but does Dead Souls really count? I think that's like a side story or something. I don't know. I haven't played much Yakuza, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, so they're going to remaster all the PS3 ones, so 3, 4, and 5. Only Japanese releases over the next year for these 1080p 60 FPS remakes. But like I said, Western releases seem likely given the success of recent Kiwami games. So keep an eye out for that. Assassin's Creed Origins sequel called Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This was leaked way ahead of the Ubisoft conference. What we knew about it is it takes place in ancient Greece. There's a few more details, of course, in the Ubisoft conference, where that was basically the showcase title that they showed, unfortunately. But I'll get to that. Crackdown 3 was delayed to February 2019, confirmed by Microsoft themselves, but hey, better late than never, I guess. A lot of people thought this game wasn't even going to come out, but then I think after E3, like a week after fucking E3 where it was showed, like the creative director left the team or something like that, and this game is just, oh man, it must suck to be on that development team. I'll tell you, it's just all Crackdown 3 hits is like Terry Crews sized roadblocks every step of the way. Dead or Alive 6 is coming. That's coming early 2019 for PS4, Xbox One, and Steam. No, I wouldn't think you'd see a Dead or Alive game on the Switch. And if you think early 2019, if you don't think I'm going to say that often, I'm going to say that very often. The first few months of 2019 are going to be jam-packed with shit. Assuming most of these don't get pushed back further or pushed up or something like that. But as it stands right now, we're going to hit the ground running when it comes to new games next year. Hitman 2, coming out on November 13th. This is not episodic like the recent Hitman reboot was. This is a full game. New Sniper Assassin co-op mode that may or may not be a pre-order bonus. I don't know if it's just an early game mode, like a demo version that's going to be included in the full game. But there's a co-op mode where you can be snipers, basically. And from what I've heard about it, it plays very well. Let's see. 3 classic Xbox 360 games from Rockstar are now backward compatible on Xbox One. This was announced right before E3. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, pretty fun game. Maybe a few people out there have heard of it. It's actually pretty decent. Rockstar's Table Tennis and Midnight Club Los Angeles. Those 3 games became backward compatible before E3 even got kicked off. 3 solid games right there. Black Ops 4 is getting some remastered maps from the first 2 games. Slums from Black Ops 2, and Jungle Summit and Firing Range from Black Ops 1. And also, yes, Nuketown is coming back as well. Mario Tennis Aces demo impressions. I put a note here. Yeah, I actually ended up getting Mario Tennis Aces. Really didn't think much of it. I haven't played much of the old Mario Tennis games, a little bit. They're fun as far as arcadey tennis games go. But the demo really impressed me, the one on the Switch, because it's a game that's really easy to pick up but difficult to master. There's a lot of systems in this tennis game. There's a whole bunch of shots. There's a whole bunch of counter shots. There's way to, you build up this special gauge over time based on the shots you send back to your opponent. You can slow down time if your opponent fires a quicker shot at you that you can't seem to catch. But if you slow down time and use some of your special meter, you can. Or do you use your special meter to build it all the way up and send like a shot towards your opponent that's really, really hard to block? There's a lot going on for a tennis game, and I was very impressed with the depth. Played the demo online because it was basically an online demo with tournaments, that kind of dealio. Kind of addicting. It was very much addicting enough for me to buy, with trading in a couple of my duplicate games and a $10 reward certificate at Best Buy, so. But I picked it up. Haven't had much time to play it as much as I want, but it's a pretty fun game, actually. So that was shown off this year a little bit by Nintendo. The PS4 exclusive Days Gone is also coming out on February 2019. That didn't get a solid release date. That was showed last year for the first time, I believe. But now we know when that's coming out. Paladins Champions of the Realm. You may know it as not Overwatch for the free-to-play market. That got announced for Nintendo Switch ahead of E3. So you can go ahead and play that. If you're not going to play Fortnite, you're most likely going to play Fortnite before Paladins. But if you have that itch for an Overwatch type game for the Switch, Paladins is actually pretty decent. I'm actually playing through free-to-play games on Xbox One right now. I'm currently addicted to Prominence Poker, of all fucking games. I just got done playing a poker tournament. Got 3rd place out of 6 people. Not too shabby. It's one of my first tournaments, but the game is super addicting. Don't really have to buy anything much. That you get free chips the more you log in. Why am I doing an advert for a free-to-play game in the middle of it talking about E3? But that's pretty much what I'm playing right now. All the fucking games I could play, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fucking games out there at the ready in my living room to play. I'm playing a free-to-play poker game on Xbox One, because that's what I fucking do. Persona 3, Dancing in Moonlight, and Persona 5, Dancing in Starlight. Moonlight, Starlight. I think I got that right. Sorry for you Persona purists if I got mixed up those 2 subtitles. But those are coming out, take a guess, I'll wait. That's right, early 2019. To PS4 and PS Vita. Vita means life. The Vita lives. Few more pre-E3 notes before we dive right into EA, which was the first conference once again this year on Saturday night. Ubisoft's Yves Guillemot predicts one more console generation before games as a service takes over and streaming eliminates the need for dedicated hardware. Ubisoft has a huge hard-on for streaming right now because they want to expand their open world games and make them more open and more worldier, I guess. Saying that if they streamed without the limitations of hardware, they can make their open world games even bigger. They can put more stuff in them. And, you know, he's basically predicting that this is, you know, the next console generation is going to be the last, and TVs are going to be strong enough. Apparently broadband internet's going to be strong enough that they can just beam like one of these AAA games right to your TV. Excuse me, and it's going to look perfect, and it's not going to lag. No problems at all. No incompatibilities with, you know, any step of the process along the way. You know, I think he's, you know, doing a little gumdrop dreaming there, but who knows, you know? Stranger things have certainly happened. So, I don't know. We'll see. Just Cause 4 got leaked. There's a pre-order ad that actually showed up on Steam, and someone took a screenshot of it, and that got around. Busted. It didn't offer any official details. It just said pre-order Just Cause 4. Oh, well, I guess we're getting a Just Cause 4. Yep. It was talked about at E3 as well. And finally, last but certainly not least, a new Tetris game was announced. And from the looks of it, it actually looks pretty fucking cool. I never thought I'd say, wow, check out this new Tetris game in 2018. It looks really good. Tetris Effect from the makers of Rez and Lumines, which definitely should get your attention if you're into puzzle games. Very visual and a cool looking 3D effect. Watch the trailer for this. It's very trippy, looks really cool, has its own unique style. Only bad thing is it's basically a PS4 exclusive. They're trying to push it with PSVR, but you can play it in non-VR modes as well, but it's pretty much a PS4 exclusive at this point. I would love to see something like it go to Xbox One, because it doesn't have to be VR to me. It just looks really, really cool. But, you know, we'll see what happens. The last Tetris game that came out was that god-awful Tetris game that Ubisoft released. I forget the whole name of it, but it wasn't well received at all. So that's pretty much all the pre-E3 stuff. Now we can dive right into E3 with EA. And EA, you know, they have their own EA Play conference during, like, around the time of E3, but not at E3 proper. And it was about as predictable as you can expect an EA conference to be. There was a Battlefield 5 multiplayer gameplay trailer. People from DICE came out to say it's the deepest and most immersive Battlefield yet. This time you'll be able to dive and smash through windows. So they're going to try and make it more immersive. You can move gun turrets around this time that were previously stationary with vehicles. They brought improved destruction of buildings back, even more so than it used to be in like the Bad Company games. More customization, grand operations mode, which finally feels like a real war with tides turning and such. It's basically like they put like fucking Risk in Battlefield, where you get like an overhead map of territories in this country that you're battling out in, and depending on how the battle goes in this territory, it can turn the tide for your enemy, or you can turn the tide back to them. Like, it actually looks like a more full-scale war this time. The more time that goes on, the more Battlefield fleshes that vision out, which is really, really cool, because in a game called Battlefield, obviously you can only move forward and, you know, up the level of destruction and violence that's going on because it's Battlefield, you know. Anything less would feel like two steps back. There's a Battle Royale mode that was teased in this game that's going to come at a later date. They didn't talk a whole lot about it. You would think Battle Royale made a huge presence in the C3, but actually not. No, it was kind of like a subtle kind of thing. It was sprinkled in here and there, mostly with Fortnite being available on Nintendo Switch and Fortnite being playable at E3 proper. There was a bit of talk about Fortnite, but no, like, you'd expect like 20 clones of Fortnite and PUBG to pop up, but it wasn't really hardly any of that. So I don't know if this is just the calm before the storm or what, but in a Battlefield game, it kind of makes sense in a way. So, I mean, it could be cool, whatever. Speaking of Fortnite, Fortifying on the Fly, they showed a gameplay trailer where there's guys like building encampments that you can hide behind and engage in like gunfights, like while hiding behind them. Like you can build stuff on the fly, you can build defenses and turrets and stuff like that, which is, you know, kind of bizarre to see that in Battlefield, but hey, it's not really that far-fetched when you have an engineer running around with repair torches and wrenches and, you know, stuff like that. They can repair buildings and tanks and stuff like that, so hey, could be cool. Short story campaigns like Battlefield 1 with the short war stories that were in that. Comes out this October, no loot boxes or premium, which just makes me wonder what the catch is going to be this time around. Who knows? There's no way they're fucking retarded enough to pull what they pulled with Battlefront 2. That's not going to happen again. At least I hope it's not. Jesus Christ. If developers can learn one lesson from the video game industry, from the huge fallout that happened with that, it's that. Like, don't fuck with that. You know? If you're going to be greedy, at least try and be subtle about it. EA and DICE weren't at all in that equation. Yeah, it comes out October 19th. That's the official date. It seems interesting, but that franchise fatigue, though, I put here. Yeah, I haven't played a lot of Battlefield pretty much at all. I bought Battlefield 1 when it came out. I played through all the single-player stuff, which I enjoyed. It was short, but it was sweet, you know. Yeah, man, I put like 400 some hours into Battlefield 4 because I got that with my Xbox One back in 2013. I still have assignments to do in that game that I haven't gotten around to. I loved Battlefield Hardline. I will defend Battlefield Hardline to my dying day. I thought it was a great game for it being a spin-off of the Battlefield series. It's a shame it didn't take off more because people, you know, they got Battlefield Hardline and DICE and Visceral and everybody who was working on the game, they said from day one that this is going to be a side venture to the series. And then Battlefield Hardline came out and everyone's like, where are my jets? This game fucking blows. So, and it's a shame. The single-player campaign in Battlefield Hardline, probably the best in the whole series. It was predictable. The ending was kind of but it was interesting enough for me to kind of stay on the edge of my seat and see what happens next. And it's a shame because I hardly doubt anyone's playing multiplayer in it anymore, which sucks because I can't think of any other Battlefield game where I can get in someone's car and be on a team with that person, and the faster that person drives, the more points we get for our team, and I can hang out the back window with a grenade launcher with KRS-One blasting out of the stereo and blowing up other cars with a grenade launcher. What other Battlefield can you do that in? Let's see, there's no other one. Hardline was great. I got Battlefield 1 when it came out. Like I said, I already said that. Played through the single player. Didn't really touch the multiplayer at all. I did go back and play Bad Company 2. Got most of the achievements for that when that weren't backward compatible at the beginning of last year. Last year, I pretty much played Bad Company 2, like the whole fucking year. Like, because everyone says that's the best Battlefield. It has its pros and cons, you know, which I think I touched upon that in another video, but I'm not going to get into it here. And then I played Battlefield 1943. Before that, finally went backward compatible. I got all the achievements for that. And then I just got burned out on the franchise, man. But from what I'm seeing, it looks cool. Jeff Gertzman from Giant Bomb, which I followed a lot of Giant Bomb's coverage through E3. I love those guys to death. He said it feels the smoothest. It's like the smoothest Battlefield experience he's had. I'm paraphrasing here, but he played it and he said it felt nice for the most part. You know, nicer than any iteration of Battlefield he's played recently. So that gets me a little positive about it. Usually Battlefield's the last bastion of games I pre-order, but this time I'm going to wait because 1, franchise fatigue, 2, it's probably going to go on sale for the holidays. like Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 last year did. I bought those both on release and I got burned because they had a huge sale on those games maybe like a month or two after they came out. So I'm like, yep, fuck pre-ordering forever. But moving on, we go to FIFA 19, soccer. I really don't play FIFA 19, so they all look the same to me. If you just showed me a FIFA trailer and didn't tell me what the title was, I couldn't possibly tell you what year it was in. The Coupe des Clubs trophies displayed on stage. Just in case you forget that teams are awarded a trophy sometimes when they win. It zooms out from the gameplay trailer and it cuts to two people talking about FIFA and there's a big trophy on the stage. You know, because sometimes teams who win sports, they win trophies. Just so you guys know. You know, thanks EA. Thanks for stating the obvious when no one else could. It's to promote the EFA Champions League, which is now in FIFA since it expired in Konami's Pro Evolution Soccer. So that's another license EA has under their belt now. Blah, blah, FIFA Ultimate Team. We've listened to your feedback. Needed to take a moment to reflect on the goddamn trophy because they drew attention to the trophy, even though it's a giant trophy in the middle of the stage because EA. FIFA 18 players will get a free World Cup update in the meantime. World Cup's been happening. Soccer's been happening. It's been fun. There's also a free trial for FIFA 18 if you want to try that. FIFA 19 comes out September 28th. Andrew Wilson finally comes out of the shadows, our good friend Andrew Wilson. Announced a new team from Israel has joined the company to focus on streaming, cloud gaming, and portable gaming. So they're doing some hardware work over at EA. Origin Access Primer. Apparently they announced a new tier of Origin where it's similar to EA Access. I was going to say Game Pass, but it's not Game Pass. EA Access on Xbox. Origin Premier is where you get access to newer games coming out and you get access to the back catalog that's available of EA's games on Origin for a monthly fee. Let's see. Madden 19, FIFA 19, Battlefield 5, and Anthem. Plus their Vault will come out this summer. So if it hasn't come out already, it will be there by the end of summer, according to Andrew Wilson. Vince Zampella, who's just been chilling out in the crowd, is introduced. You know, the guy who runs Respawn, the guy who made Titanfall one of the best multiplayer shooters to come out recently. Working on a Star Wars game called The Jedi The Fallen Order. So that's what he's been working on, but it's so early, like they had nothing to show for it practically. He's like, yeah, we're making a Star Wars game. It's got Jedis in it. You should check it out soon, whenever we can show it. Yeah. Cool, Vince. That's great, I guess. You can play a Jedi. You can play as a Jedi during the dark times between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So Episode 3 and Episode 4, between those, is where this is supposed to take place. Dark times, huh, Vince? You don't mean when EA assimilated Respawn, huh? Man, getting your game company assimilated by Electronic Arts, I guess, would give you inspiration to talk about the dark times in something, wouldn't it? No release date. Don't expect this game for at least a year and a half. So that's what Respawn's up to. Design director for Battlefront 2 comes out. makes a public apology for the progression system that they can't seem to do enough about, and talks about new content coming to the game, including content for the new Solo movie and elements from the classic Battlefront games. General Grievous is coming, as well as Count Dooku. So there's going to be more content. I just think it's funny that this game, man, it's sent. I've never seen a blunder send such shockwaves in recent memory as Battlefront 2's did. Like the stink it fucking caused. Where fucking Disney had to call up EA and be like, yeah, all this bad publicity with our license, like what the hell are you guys doing over there? They're still apologizing for this fucking game. It's glorious. Like, man. Can't get too greedy, guys. You can't It's what happens when, you keep dipping your hand in the fucking cookie jar and you just want to take all the fucking cookies at once and no one else gets any cookies. People are going to get fucking pissed off. So, man. Battlefront 2. Unravel 2 trailer. So a sequel to Unravel. It's a game about fresh starts and second chances. As the way it was presented. A second character comes along to share one yarn with Yarny. So this means it can be played solo or co-op, but there's 2 people. See Unravel 2. Gameplay demo shows a gorgeous environment and seamless switching between the 2 characters. Giant Bomb did some co-op play on it, said it was seamless, said it felt really, really good playing co-op with it. And the release date was the most surprising part about it. It was available right at the announcement. So it's been out since E3. Ever since this was talked about, it's up. So you can play that right away. Patrick Soderlund goes on to talk about the success of A Way Out. The game that was announced last year and came out at the beginning of this year, I think it was, the co-op experience with the 2 prisoners. Introduces Joe May Games director Cornelia Geppert, to talk about the next EA Originals game called SOS, or Sea of Solitude. It's about a young woman suffering from loneliness and she becomes a monster, but throughout her journey to bring her back, you go throughout the journey to bring her back from the brink of this depression. A really personal story, looks really cool, early 2019 release date, along with everything else. Very artsy game, very, seems like a powerful, emotional, passion behind the game, which I was very impressed by. So, we'll see how that pans out. I hope it does well. Her and her team seem really passionate about it. It was nice for EA to give the spotlight to a game like this. I like seeing more original games like this. So early 2019, we'll see what that's about. This was my personal highlight for the conference, NBA Live 19, because I like me some basketball. Even though the Celtics lost the finals this year. If only we had Kyrie Irving in there, we probably would have got it. But now that LeBron James went to the Los Angeles Lakers, at least that's the rumor, I don't know if that's true or not, well, I don't think we have much competition in the East, though the Philadelphia 76ers are basically my hometown team. They did an awesome job in the finals. But anyway, Celtics will get it next year. We got to the semifinals with rookies. What do you want? They did a fantastic job. It seems to be carrying the story of the one from last year's game when they rebooted NBA Live again. They took a year off in 2017, in 2016, because NBA 2K17 came out in 2016. I got NBA 2K17. Usually I'm an NBA Live guy because NBA 2K's transactions are absolutely fucking insane anymore. It seemed to do really well. EA really aggressively got NBA Live 18 out there. I saw it on sale constantly. A lot of good word of mouth from that game. Maybe if it's sold enough, maybe now that NBA Live can get some much needed exposure, much needed success, maybe NBA 2K will be forced to be competitive again and cut it out with the fucking microtransaction bullshit and stuff. But that comes out on September 7th, NBA Live 19 does. So it's really great to see that series. I think they finally found a good foundation and it looks like they're building upon it, which is exactly what they need to do. There's a Madden esports reel that was shown. Pittsburgh Steelers dude comes out on stage with the Madden 18 champion, the world tournament champion, I guess. Actual quote, "I got my diploma, but I still chase that money." Wow. It's great for someone to see them with a diploma and still able to make money. Moving on. Madden 19, the trailer was shown for that, comes out August 31st. What did I say in my leaks? That it comes out August 10th? So that got pushed to the end of August, but, it's still in August. August is still Madden month, so. And then, oh God, then this happens. Shoutcasters to broadcast over a new head-to-head mobile game called Command & Conquer Rivals. Now, I am not even close to being naive enough to expect a traditional real-time strategy game to come out in 2018. But seeing Command and Conquer, as someone who grew up in the 90s with the original Command and Conquer, with Red Alert, with Tiberian Sun, with Red Alert 2, that starred Tim fucking Curry in it, who's a phenomenal actor. The cheesy FMV, the strategy action, I love Command and Conquer. They tried to bring it back a little bit, like they had a Command and Conquer 3, Command and Conquer 4, they had a Red Alert 3. It just hurts to see Command and Conquer, a series that held so much water back then, be reduced to this, to like a phone game that's, to put it nicely, a shadow of what Command and Conquer used to be. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way about it. Pretty much if anyone had anything to say about EA this year, it was about how terrible this looked. But hey, I got a real phone now, so I guess I can download Command and Conquer Rivals. Ooh. I wrote, are you fucking kidding me? Android users can download the pre-alpha today, but the game will also come to iOS. Not only that, but the trailer ends with a CGI Kane showing his face. This Kane looked terrible. He looked sickly. He looked like he's been waiting for nourishment in the form of a new proper Command and Conquer game along with everyone else. And if this is any indication, he might as well just off himself and get over it. Get it over with. Oh man, that sucked. But hey, that's where we're at now with games, you know? They make a lot of money from phone games. A lot of companies make a lot of money from mobile games. And not just portable games, like not 3DS games, not PS Vita games, but actual cell phone games. That seems to be the thing now, so I can't really blame them. It's just, oh man, my poor Command and Conquer. Andrew Wilson comes out to close the show with a Play to Give update from last year. They ended up giving $1 million to 3 different charities, which is very nice to hear. And finally, last but not least, Anthem. And this game, the way they presented this game was, it showed crystal clear that you can have good announcements about good games, but the way you present them can immediately just kill everyone's expectations. So YouTube chick, I forget her name, social media chick, I don't know, she's famous for something on the internet, I don't know. Brings the developers of this game, brings BioWare developers out for a Q&A session on stage. EA has been talking a big game about Anthem. Anthem's going to be the next big thing, like the next big IP that they're showing. So, I'm not a businessman. I'm not a stockholder. I have no stake in this conference at all. But even I know that I think it's a better idea to just cut to the goddamn gameplay footage for everyone, millions of sets of eyes to see like what this game actually is, how it moves, how it plays, how it presents itself, instead of having a fucking like 15-minute Q&A session with the developers. Why couldn't you do this at another time? Why wouldn't you do something like this like for your YouTube channel or something to put on the game's website or something like that? Like people who see that they like the way the game looks, they want to know more about it, then they'll go find this information. No, we have this stuff down our throats first while all of us are sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck Anthem is. And like I watched Giant Bomb watching this, and all 6 of the guys that were watching this conference were just like, they were so confused. Like, what the hell is this game? And then they finally showed the gameplay after this Q&A session, and everyone was like, oh, okay, that's Anthem. And Jeff Gertzman and Brad Shoemaker of Giant Bomb, they actually got to go behind closed doors and play the game, and they said it plays really smooth. Well, you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't be interested in it if you're going to start out this with a 15-minute Q&A session. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I know people want to know more about the game, but that's not how you go about doing it before you show any gameplay footage. That being said, it looks pretty cool. not $60 cool, not something I'm going to rush out and get, because, by the way, that comes out in February 2019 too. I'll see if it comes out, and I know I'm not the only one with this opinion. I'll let it come out, see if it sinks or swims, wait for a sale, and then I'll probably hop in and play it, because it does look pretty good. It's a third-person shooter. You know, motherfuckers got jetpacks, they got wingsuits and stuff like that. Has a futuristic setting to it. Looks really cool. But just make sure you actually look for gameplay footage of it, which there should be plenty of it out by now. There's going to be customization, but no loot boxes. I like how loot boxes are like the boogeyman at Electronic Arts now. Like, no, this does not have loot boxes in it. We're out of the loot box game, you know, which they're going to find some other way to monetize their games, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I wrote here, it looks like a cross between Titanfall and Destiny, so there you go. Then we move into Microsoft, which was the next day. On, what was it, Sunday? Or was it Monday? I don't know. No, it was Sunday. Was it? I don't know. Microsoft had a conference at E3 this year. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little winded here. Microsoft had a good show this year, with one kind of fatal flaw, and it's the same thing. It's the one grievance I had about Microsoft going into E3 this year. It's the one grievance I had about Microsoft for the last couple years. You know, growing with the Xbox One, using it through every iteration of its system updates, playing games on it, seeing how the Xbox One is doing in the gaming community, seeing how it's doing in the news, it being my primary platform. And, well, let me get through the notes here. Trailer for Halo Infinite right out of the gate, powered by the Slipspace engine, whatever that is. So we're getting a new Halo. What's it about? Nobody knows. When's it coming out? Nobody knows. But Halo still exists. It's called Halo Infinite because we know that, because there was a dude in the CGI trailer that was holding like a Master Chief type helmet. So we'll see what's that. Phil Spencer comes out, says Infinite will be Master Chief's greatest adventure yet, and he talks about gaming as a unifying force. So that's saying Halo Infinite, I guess it's going to be a sequel. It was rumored before E3 that Halo Infinite was going to be like a project name of bringing the Halo Master Chief Collection to the PC and bringing more Xbox exclusives to the PC, where they're talking, Phil Spencer talks about more of having like an ecosystem, using the Xbox as a brand and it not being tied to certain hardware. Though he talks at the end of the conference about that they're starting on new forms of hardware, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. The fake applause is already getting a bit too much at this point because, you know, there's like, I don't know, fans in the front or developers in the front. Like, you can tell where the fake applause audience is right there in the front, like right to the right of him at the foot of the stage. Like cheering and hooting and hollering after everything their Lord and Savior Phil Spencer says. It's like, okay, it's already getting a little too much, guys. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, just let the guy talk. And he did talk quite a bit. And he laid out the foundation of what this conference is going to be. 50 games, 18 exclusives, 15 world premieres. And true to Phil's promise, I mean, they showed pretty much game after game after game. So we'll just get right into it. Trailer for the first exclusive, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I loved Ori and the Blind Forest when it came out. This looks like that, but even better. Gameplay trailer looked amazing. Looked dope as fuck. 2019 release date. No hard date beyond 2019, but it got pushed back to 2019. This was shown last year. Didn't even have a release date, but it looks like it's coming along really, really well. So it can't be that much longer before we get to play this game. World premiere trailer. From Software and Activision present Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. You know, but a lot of people were betting on this being a fucking Tenchu game. It was time to bring Tenchu back. And when Activision showed up, you know, a lot of people could have swore There's going to be another Tenchu game, but I don't know if they just wanted to let the Tenchu game die, or the name Tenchu's in licensing hell somewhere and they couldn't secure it. But Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, it's going to be the next evolution of the Dark Souls / Bloodborne series. I would have loved to see a Bloodborne sequel, but I didn't get to Sony yet. But spoiler alert, no Bloodborne sequel, which kind of sucks because I really like Bloodborne, but who knows? You know, there's still time to make something like that, in my opinion. But it's supposed to take that and put its own unique spin on it with all the lessons they've learned making Dark Souls and Demon Souls and Bloodborne and all those games. It looks really, really cool. It looks like what made Dark Souls and Bloodborne good, but the combat, the gameplay they showed, it looks more fast, more fluid, more engaging. I can't wait to play it. Comes out in 2019. No solid release date beyond that. Looks dope as fuck, though. Then our good friend Todd Howard from Bethesda comes out, shows an exclusive premiere for Fallout 76, says it's going to be a prequel to all the games and 4 times bigger than Fallout 4. More details to come in the Bethesda conference, but it comes out November 14th. We know that much so far. World premiere from Square Enix and Don't Nod Entertainment, spin-off Life is Strange game. It's called The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. It's supposedly released at the end of June. Not only did it have a free demo, but the entire game was free too. So I don't know if this is kind of a prequel to Life is Strange 2 that I think is going to come out this fall. But yeah, that's totally free if you want to check that out. So that was pretty cool. It's about a little boy pretending to be a superhero. I don't know if it goes into any more depth than that, but if you like the Life is Strange games, and I mean, this is completely free, so don't sleep on this if you're a fan. Because it looks like it's going to tie into Life is Strange 2 somehow, because it takes place in the same universe. The trailer that debuted this title showed that. So then we actually saw gameplay, honest to God gameplay of Crackdown 3. That got pushed back to February 2019, which was leaked. Sure looks like a Crackdown game. Still looks a little rough around the edges. So I don't know, man. We're going to see what happens with this game with the creative director leaving and all that, so we'll see. Nier Automata is coming to Xbox. It did already come to Xbox because we're in July and it got released June 26th. Become as Gods Edition, it's called, it's supposed to have all the DLC from the previously released PS4 version, but it's a digital only release. There's no physical release for Nier Automata, but hey, I'll take digital over nothing. So it's nice that Xbox One got thrown a bone there. And it's actually showing its presence as the comeback kid of this console generation. If you want to buy into, there's still this console war going on. So it's nice for Xbox One to get thrown a bone there, so you can play that on Xbox now as opposed to just PS4. You know, it's nice to see games like this being released on more platforms so more people can play them. You know, it only makes sense in the long run, in my opinion. I don't know. Then there's a gameplay trailer for Metro Exodus. That's coming out February 22nd, 2019. We better all be saving our pennies for February 2019 because this month is jam fucking packed. Back to Phil Spencer introduces trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, which was its first official showing at this year's E3. It shows Sora with Goofy and Donald, of course, interacting with characters from Frozen, Wreck-It Ralph, Hercules, Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and more. Like, they threw everything and a couple kitchen sinks into this game. Later on, they showed in the Sony conference, or I think the Square Enix had their own conference, where Pirates of the Caribbean is going to make an appearance with Jack Sparrow himself and the characters in those movies, since they're Disney movies. It's showing people you're going to do air combat, you're going to do sea combat, you're going to do action, like third-person action gameplay. Like, it's nuts. Like, this game is hugely ambitious for as much time as they've been working on it, but it looks like it's going to cover so many gameplay genres. It's crazy. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 if it had a fucking dating sim section in it for how much stuff they're throwing into this game. And we finally got a solid release date for Kingdom Hearts 3. And it is January 2019. I don't know if they listed an exact date. I think they did. I think I put it later in my notes here. But yeah, January next year, it's coming out. Less than a year, we're going to be bestowed with a new Kingdom Hearts 3. So everyone has been waiting years and years for that. It's about to pay off. Exclusive trailer for additional content for Sea of Thieves. Cursed Sails coming in July, and Forsaken Shores coming in September. So there's more add-on content coming to that, because everything I've heard about Sea of Thieves was it was pretty bare bones when it first came out. So it's nice to see that they're adding content to it. So we'll see how that pans out. Then they show like a 20 or 30 second spot for Battlefield 5. It's a small glimpse into the story, I guess. I don't know. I don't really remember it not really saying much. Then there was an exclusive world premiere of Forza Horizon 4. This was rumored, but it's actually ended up true. Ralph Fulton, the creative director of Playground Games, confirms that Britain is the setting this time around. Dynamic seasons and easier communication with others are emphasized. Those are the big selling points for this game. Comes out October 2nd. Also will come to Game Pass when it does come out. So if you're a huge Forza fan, I hope you finished up Forza 7 and Forza Horizon 3, because Horizon 4 is right on the horizon. See what I did there? Moving on. Phil Spencer announces a new first-party studio in Santa Monica called The Initiative. This was the part I was getting at before I delved into the notes here. So they made a new first-party studio that's based in Santa Monica called The Initiative. Then they bought out a few more studios on top of that. They have acquired Undead Labs, which is famous for State of Decay, like real stretch there. Playground Games, that works on Forza Horizon, like I just said, real stretch there again. It's pretty easy to buy out studios that have made games for you in the past, but whatever. Compulsion Games, that are working on We Happy Few right now. Microsoft now owns them. And the fifth studio they announced, and probably the biggest surprise of all, is Ninja Theory, the company who just recently made Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. So I guess that game must have done very, very well. I know it's sold easily over 1 million copies recently, which is, great for them. Haven't played it, but it has a lot of positive buzz. I'd love to be able to play it someday. Someday soon I hope to play it. But yeah, that was big. So they announced that first-party games. Phil Spencer hears everyone loud and clear, the criticisms they received on first-party games. So now they have these new studios, and I assume they're working on games. Like, they didn't announce any new exciting games that they're working on. So I don't know if they're... I would assume if these studios were bought that they're working on games. But they didn't really go into concrete details. And that's my biggest grievance with Microsoft right now. They need first-party games. They need games like Neo, like on the PS4. Like, the PS4 has so many exclusives. Like, I just been collecting exclusives for PS4, and there's quite a bit of them. Infamous Second Son, Killzone Shadowfall from Sucker Punch and Guerrilla Games, respectively. They also made Horizon Zero Dawn, another great exclusive. Neo, another great exclusive. Then you go to Sony's other proper studios. They just recently released God of War that sold fucking gangbusters. They made PS4 has Until Dawn, which is a fantastic horror game. Jesus, what else? So many other games that are exclusive to the PS4. That these are the type of games Microsoft needs on their system to show people that this is a serious platform to consider. You're going to need to buy an Xbox One to play these games. That's by far Microsoft's weakest point right now. But hey, at least they got crossplay right. So there's that, I guess. Which seems to be Sony's big stumbling block right now. Spoiler alert. But anyway, I just hope that with these investments that they're making new great games that are going to be staples for years to come, that when people are talking about strong exclusives on different platforms, it's like, oh, Xbox has this, 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 and this. And by this, this, and this, I don't mean Halo, Gears, and Forza. Halo, Gears, and Forza. Halo, Gears, and Forza. Like, those poor horses have been beaten to death so bad. They're somewhere near the core of the planet right now, and they're about to fall out underneath. Like, you guys gotta make new stuff. there's good things about the Halo series and Forza and Gears of War. Don't get me wrong, but you need more than that. The PS4 has more than that. You guys need more. Like the PS4 has Bloodborne. Bloodborne looks so fucking good the first time I saw it at E3 that I got a PS4 just to play Bloodborne. And what do you know? The PS4 has all these other great exclusives. You know, Drive Club, Gran Turismo. Like, granted, Xbox has Forza, but like, you guys need more stuff than that. You guys need the exclusives that PS4 exclusives like are famous for. The quality, the gameplay, everything. So that's what Microsoft needs to do. They have the most powerful console on the planet. They're murdering the competition when it comes to backward compatibility. People have spoken very loud and clear that backward compatibility is still a major selling point. Now they just need the first party games. They need the blockbusters, the heavy hitters, oh man, like check out this awesome game I got on the Xbox One. I can only play it here, which, you know, significantly increases the value of the Xbox brand. So we'll see what these studios are working on. I hope it's some original content. I hope it's really good. So that's my pet peeve about Microsoft right now. There's a trailer shown for We Happy Few. Seems to have metamorphosized into a more Bioshock type game than when it was first released in its game preview days. That comes out actually in about a month, August 10th. World premiere, first exclusive was shown. A trailer was shown for showing off new modes and environments in PUBG that's coming this winter. That's basically the only mention of PUBG that was mentioned this whole conference pretty much. Another world premiere, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is coming to Xbox this winter, which is great. I think this is the first time a Tales game has ever shown up on the Xbox. So it's great to see it broadening its horizons with like more Japanese developed games. That's great. World premiere for The Division 2. This kind of dragged things down a little bit because it was another gameplay trailer with fake-ass scripted squad talk. Like, okay, Bravo unit, let's move out slowly and be sure to take cover and make sure your guns are loaded. And, hey, Tracy, you know, when you're done over there, come over here and jerk me off and while I refill my assault rifle. Like nobody talks like this. Nobody talks like this on online multiplayer, okay? If there's not one person in the squad blasting horrible rap music that you could barely hear, that sounds like it's in mono and it's been covered in shit through their fucking headset, and another kid screaming about how good he fucked my mom last night, it's not Xbox Live. It's not PSN. It's not real, okay? No one's buying this. But I'm sure you got to put on a little show for your shareholders and stuff like that, but whatever. It's just annoying at this point. Takes place in Washington, D.C. Ooh, getting all political with The Division. Comes out in March next year. Wow, they actually moved it up from the February deadlock we're in right now, so it comes out in March. It looks like The Division. Looks very similar to the first one. I mean, I guess they've supported the first game a lot. I played the open beta. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the MMO feel of it, where you're shooting a bunch of mobs and you just see numbers slowly trickle down their damage. I'm just like, after years of playing World of Warcraft, that's my first and most likely my last MMO ever. I don't like that style of gameplay. I just never got into it. I just eventually burned out on it. Then we see Ashley Spicer? I'm totally butchering her last name. But she's the head of engineering for Xbox Game Pass. She came out on stage talking about how much of a rousing success Game Pass has been for Microsoft. And they're working on making the games launch faster with fast launch, or I forget the terminology they used for it. But it's not only going to work in Game Pass as far as I know, but all games on Xbox One. There was just a system update that recently came out, and that was one of the showcase tech pieces of the update. So we'll see what happens with that. Master Chief Collection is coming later this year, as well as the Division, Elder Scrolls Online, and Fallout 4 being available for Game Pass today. And I think Todd Howard mentioned that about Fallout 4 before. I wasn't sure. So yeah, that's a nice little tidbit. Then we finally get to the ID at Xbox, the indie reel that they showed. Games that were showed were Outer Wilds, After Party, Kingdom 2 Crowns, the Golf Club 2, now with the PGA license, since I guess EA lost that. Gained the World Cup license, lost the PGA license. Good job, EA. Warhammer Vermintide 2, which I did play. They recently had a beta of that. Warhammer Vermintide 2, the best way I can explain it, it's Left 4 Dead in the Warhammer universe. You got 4 people going out to a battlefield. You're fighting mobs and monsters. You have to get to the end point of the map to avoid getting killed. You got to work together to help each other survive. It was pretty fun, but it's almost exactly like Left 4 Dead. Fringe Wars, Below still exists, guys, didn't you know? Conqueror's Blade, Walking, Raji, Super Meat Boy Forever, Planet Alpha, Islands of Nine, Sable, Harold Halibut, which looked like kind of a point-and-click adventure game type dealie. Bomber Crew, Children of Morta, The Wind Road, War Groove, Generation Zero, Dead Cells, which has been talked about before, and Ashen, which made a couple appearances at E3. That's finally being fleshed out and released soon. So keep an eye out on those. Check those out. Those are the new ID at Xbox games being released very soon. Next up is Square Enix trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That comes out September 14th. More details where that is shown at Square Enix's conference. Next exclusive game was a new skateboarding game called Session. Apparently this was a fund-raised game. I never heard anything about this until now. It's considered to be the spiritual successor of the Skate series, and it's expected to come out next year. That's all we know about it. I mean, what they showed looked good, but I hope it's fleshed out, since Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 was such a fucking stinker, and EA refuses to make a new Skate game. They made Skate 3 backward compatible on Xbox One. That's pretty much the newest thing we have as far as skateboarding games go. Another exclusive, a new MMORPG by developer Pearl Abyss called The Black Desert. I think this was shown in a more minimalistic view last year, but it comes out this fall. At least the beta does. World premiere from Capcom, Devil May Cry 5, comes out next spring. This was a bit of a shock. Director Hideki Itsuno comes out to elaborate. It's the best game he's ever made because it was for the fans. Aww. But this game looks really cool. I think it has Nero in it as opposed to Dante. I don't know if Dante's going to make an appearance later in the game, but Nero was definitely in the trailer. Looks really cool. There's another console launch exclusive, the next announcement. Cuphead. Cuphead finally makes an appearance. I'm like, more Cuphead? That's great. The Delicious Last Course. It's going to be DLC to the first game. What does it include? I'm glad you asked. New character. There's a new character called Legendary Chalice. Chef Saltbaker. I don't know if he's going to be a vendor or a boss or exactly what, but Chef Saltbaker's up in this bitch. New island with new enemies and bosses, and it comes out next year, which is always great. Cuphead was a phenomenal game. Bought it when it came out. I had a much pleasure in beating it. Had a very old school feel to it, an old school challenge. King Dice can go fuck himself. That's where me and I think a lot of people got stuck on the stage, that fucking boss gauntlet with King Dice. That was rough, but it was oh so satisfying when you finally got through it. Yeah, Cuphead's fucking great. Exclusive, an isometric action-adventure game called Tunic. A cute isometric Zelda-type game due out later this year. Hey, what if Zelda was isometric instead of top-down or 3D, and Link was a fox? Well, if you want that, Tunic's your game. Bandai Namco game announcement, world premiere. This is an anime crossover game called Jump Force. I guess it's going to be a 3D fighting game with a whole bunch of different characters from different animes coming into it. More details are going to be shown on that later on. Another world premiere. Microsoft just with the games this year. Dying Light 2. We got an official sequel to Dying Light. Chris Avellone comes out to talk about how it improves upon the mechanics of the previous game. Choices now have more genuine consequences. Gameplay trailer looks great, but there's no release date for Dying Light 2. I guess it must be early in development. But they're trying to make the world more realized. They're trying to put factions in the game. Where if you do things for one faction, it's going to severely impact the game world itself. So we'll see about that. And here was the bombshell of the Xbox conference for me. Exclusive world premiere. A new Battletoads. there's finally making a new Battletoads. Granted, this was only like a 30-second teaser where it didn't really show anything. But it's cool to know that a new Battletoads is coming out next year. There's a fun little advertisement for it. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, but yeah, new Battletoads. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. We know the 3 Toads are coming back from the original game. We know it's coming out in 2019. That's about it. So we'll see. We'll keep tabs on what's going on with Battletoads. World premiere, Square Enix and Avalanche Studios and Just Cause 4 comes out December 4th. Square Enix goes into more detail about that, how the weather effects are more pronounced this time around in Just Cause. But like I said, Just Cause 4 got leaked before, so it wasn't really that much of a surprise. A teaser for a new Gears of War game is shown. This was interesting, featuring Funko Pop versions of the usual crew. Gears Pop is coming in 2019 for mobile devices. But that wasn't all. There was fucking Gears of War overload at this conference, or just Gears, I guess, as it's been rebranded. Because the next 2 games are just called Gears. There's no of War in the title, so we're just playing Gears now. Rod Ferguson comes out to announce Gears Tactics, which is a new strategy spinoff of the franchise. No release date, but the idea seems promising enough. Then, of course, last but not least, we have the world premiere of Gears 5. Not Gears of War 5, mind you, Gears 5. The focus seems to fall more on Kate, and combat looks to be faster and more fluid this time around. This game does also not have a release date, but we're getting a triple threat of Gears games coming on the horizon. So there's your Halo. We got our Halo, we got our Forza, we got our Gears. The trifecta has finally come back. And finally, Phil Spencer closes out with a look at the future, improvements in AI, cloud gaming, and new console hardware. So the thing I was saying about the quote from Yves Guillemot and the pre-E3 announcements that I wrote down here, Microsoft's making a new console. I can definitely see Nintendo fooling around with more hardware. PlayStation, I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I don't think gaming console is going to go away anytime soon, at least in the next 10 years. Broadband is not there yet. Technology, as far as TVs go, as far as the different HDMI technologies, HDCP, 4K, 1080p, like there's all these different... The technology we're using to run these games has to be more unified. It has to be more mature. It has to be more dependable. Before something like this can happen where companies can just beam games to your TV screen and your TV comes with a game controller and basically the hardware, the dedicated hardware to run these games is completely cut out and it's run by a server somewhere, which is what Ubisoft basically has a gigantic boner for right now. But maybe it'll happen sometime in the future, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Not anytime soon. So get comfortable with your console gaming hardware because I think we're going to have it for quite a while yet. But one more thing out of the Microsoft conference, and this was definitely one of the showstoppers of the conference, not of the conference, but of all of E3 as a whole. Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red is finally shown. I know they've been working on this game for a very long time. And not only does it exist, it looks ambitious, it looks promising, it looks beautiful. I can't wait to play something like this because it looks like a world where Blade Runner meets Snatcher meets the cyberpunk type world. Of course it's going to have a cyberpunk world. The game is named Cyberpunk. But it's the most realized I've seen that vision, that sci-fi vision, I think in any medium I've ever seen, next to like the movie Blade Runner or something like that. So we'll see what happens with that. It looks like The Witcher, Crysis, and Blade Runner all had a baby, and it looks amazing and ambitious. Expected release next summer, so we don't have to wait much longer for it. But that was a game that definitely turned a lot of heads this year. So that was Microsoft's conference, just bing, bang, boom, games, games, games. New console hardware is on the horizon eventually, of course. They got new game studios. I can't wait to see what goes on with them. So that was basically Microsoft. With Bethesda, Pete Hines introduces the conference talking about the recent success that the company's games have enjoyed. They're the #1 publisher in the world according to Metacritic. So if you take Metacritic as your gaming social media Bible, they're the best company in the world. Rage 2 got leaked, as we all know, so they might as well talk about that first. Nothing like an Andrew WK performance to set the mood for the announcement, which that happened. That actually happened. Gameplay was shown in the background, and Rage 2 was fleshed out a little bit more while fucking Andrew WK and his band jammed on stage with the footage playing in the background. So, yeah, I guess that's how you solidify Rage 2 with a bang at E3 with Andrew WK. Not that I have anything against Andrew WK, that just seemed like a bizarre set of events. But this is E3, motherfuckers. Anything can happen. Tim Willits comes out with game director Magnus Nedfors. Rage is back. All right. Trailer shows some Mad Max shit. They focus more on gameplay after the band was done. Yeah, it shows some Mad Max shit like car combat in a more open world. Combat seems fluid like Doom. It could be interesting when they actually showed like the shooting and stuff like that. I mean, it looks like they took everything from the first Rage and really expanded upon it, so we'll see how it goes. Elder Scrolls Legends update. There's a re-release coming for consoles, and all your progress from the mobile game carries over to the console iterations. Elder Scrolls Online trailer showing off more DLC coming to the game this year, including Wolf Hunter, the werewolf-based dungeon DLC, and another called Murkmire, returning to Black Marsh, if you're familiar with those areas. And finally, the thing I tuned into Bethesda for pretty much was a new Doom, because why wouldn't you make a new Doom? The Doom reboot was a rousing success, so of course they got to follow up with it somehow. Teaser for Doom Eternal. According to creative director Hugo Martin and game director Marty Stratton, their aim is to take everything from the reboot and amplify it even more. More details to come at QuakeCon, so this was just a quick teaser if anything. Speaking of shooters, Quake Champions also got a spot in this conference. Those who download and sign up this week will be able to play the free-to-play version before the game's actual release, and will be able to continue playing it after the offer expires. So if you downloaded it the week of E3, I guess you get to keep it until the game is actually released. It was like a limited time free-to-play sign-up type deal. I don't know. Prey is receiving a free update, aka System Shock 3, which is what most people call it. It's pretty much a System Shock game. It had nothing to do with the old Prey game from the 3D Realms days, which that went backward compatible on Xbox One as well. I have that. So, but this is an entirely different game. It's going to add story mode, survival mode, and New Game Plus. There's a trailer shown for its first DLC called Moon Crash. This content is all available at the time of the announcement, with more DLC coming this summer in the form of multiplayer called Typhon Hunter, which gives players the ability to hide as everyday objects, even a space banana. So, if you've ever wanted to hide as a space banana in a multiplayer mode for Prey, then this was your lucky day. On to Wolfenstein. Weird that Wolfenstein would get a spot at this year's E3, when it seems like Wolfenstein 2, basically just came out. It feels like that game came out like last week. You know what I mean? Like, didn't it just come out? Yeah, late last year, right? Yeah, because I bought it during Black Friday. Wow. I was about to call it Wolfenstein 2: Shadow of the Colossus, because I've been messing around with some PS4 shit. But it's called the New Colossus. Thank God I wrote it down here, because that would have been a little embarrassing. And that's basically what they started to talk about when it comes to Wolfenstein. The New Colossus is coming out to the Nintendo Switch on June 29th, which is come and gone. But a new side story involving B.J. Blazkowicz's twin daughters titled Youngblood was shown. So this is going to be another spin-off, like the Old Blood was a spin-off of the New Order, which was the big Wolfenstein reboot for this generation of consoles that they made. Can be played solo or co-op, comes out next year. So that's interesting. I didn't expect really to see Wolfenstein at all here, since the sequel just came out. But Doom I expected because that was released a year prior to Wolfenstein 2, but now we're getting more Wolfenstein, which, always a good thing, as long as it's polished. Bethesda pokes fun at the... oh, I got a little ahead of myself again, excuse me. Pete Hines comes out to say praise Typhoon Hunter, will be available in VR and introduces Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, which is another VR game where you get to take over robots and turn them against the Nazis. Fuck Nazis is basically what they're saying, which is, a message I can get behind. Then Todd Howard comes out, Fallout Man, as I call him. Bethesda pokes fun at the Skyrim re-release memes and introduces a very special edition for Amazon's Alexa. They did like a spoof trailer where you can play Skyrim through Amazon's Alexa, because Skyrim's being released on everything, every console, every platform, your toaster, your refrigerator, your fucking TI-89 calculator. Skyrim's pretty much everywhere. So, hey, at least they have a good sense of humor about it. More details on Fallout 76. Like I think I said before, it takes place in West Virginia, will be 4 times the size of Fallout 4, will be multiplayer based. Vault Tech 55 videos and the conference show off how interaction and building in nuclear missile sites will play into this new game. We'll have a beta later this year. Collector's Edition is going to come with a glow-in-the-dark world map. Ooh. Again, comes out November 14th. So keep an eye out for that, Fallout fans. Fallout Shelter, speaking of Fallout, is coming to PS4 and Switch, available now to celebrate its 3rd anniversary. I can't believe Fallout Shelter's been out for 3 years already. Holy fuck. Elder Scrolls Blades was one of the last things to be shown. This is a new mobile game coming to both Android and iOS later this year for free. Quality is supposed to come close to its console counterparts and goes all the way back to Arena with its procedurally generated dungeons, which is how the Elder Scrolls series basically started out, dungeon crawler. And a proper arena where you can duel other players and a town to explore and upgrade. So it's a city building, fighting game, and an exploration game all in one. The thing about this was they showed off the quality, like it's supposed to look like an actual, like a good console game, like basically like a Xbox 360 type quality or something like that. So we'll see when it comes out. You can register for the early access to that at playblades.com if that's interest of you. And we get 2 more teasers to close out Bethesda's conference. A game called Starfield, which is being described as next gen, and the next Elder Scrolls game, which, if you even want to call this an announcement, it was basically like a CGI overhead scrolling across, like a pretty generic world with the eventual logo of Elder Scrolls 6 comes up. So that was it, if you even want to call that an announcement. But that was Bethesda. Our good folks over at Devolver Digital had another fun spoof conference, which was great, with one pretty important announcement. I mean, this was more than just fluff, so I can run through that real quick. I said, this is my new favorite conference, live from the Dave Lang Memorial Convention Center. I can't really explain Devolver Digital's conferences. You just got to watch them because they're great, and they're only like 25 minutes long, so it's worth it. CEO Cinco Miller comes out on stage for introductions to talk about a super cool Devolver Digital with a Battle Royale announcement, because that's the new thing that's coming out. But Nina Struthers from behind with a neck snap and now shit gets real. We too have flashy graphics to distract you from mundane dialogue. Jeffrey plays that stage demo like a boss. They got the fucking stage demo guy, like whatever. Like it's great. I can't describe the madness that is Devolver Digital's conferences. You just got to go watch them. Just take my word for it. But they showed a few things. They showed a trailer for a game called Scum, Supermax Open World Survival from Crow Team, the Serious Sam guys, if you're not familiar with them. That comes to Steam Early Access in August. The next game is My Friend Pedro. A talking banana introduces a cool-looking 2D shooter with bullet time. Cool sequence where he throws a frying pan up in the air, slows down time, and shoots bullets off of the pan and ricochets the bullets into enemies. Really cool. Comes to Switch and PC next year. Really cool gameplay trailer. Check that out, My Friend Pedro. It's really, really cool. And this was the coolest thing about the conference, in my opinion. They come out with this... they were trying to do this spoof joke where they're going to try and sell their own like plug and play classic system like Nintendo's been doing with the NES and the SNES, and Sega did with their At Games thing that was released. And so they're making a new bundled console called the Devolver Digital Entertainment System Classic with over 20 classic games on it. And it was, they just threw like a fucking Dreamcast on a cart and rolled it out and just like lazily painted over it. And the guy one of the guys looks in the Dreamcast and pulls out like a burned copy of Metal Wolf Chaos. Interesting choice. That's because Metal Wolf Chaos is getting a remaster coming out this year called Metal Wolf Chaos XD. Comes to Xbox One, PS4, and PC later this year. I thought that was really fucking cool. Quick primer on Metal Wolf Chaos. It was a Japanese-only original Xbox game. The only way you can get it is if you imported it for the original Xbox, but now it's being remastered. Same cheesy dialogue though, which is great because it's a big strength to the game. That's coming out later this year. That's really, really cool. But yeah, great fucking conference. I'm going to look forward to that conference every year now. Then we go back to business, mundane business with Square Enix. I know this is getting a little long. Ooh boy. Square. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider opened up this conference. Laura will have to stop the Mayan apocalypse in a jungle setting, emphasis on stealth gameplay this time around. More of an emphasis on that. Comes out September 14th. My phone just went off. Just a Facebook notification there. Moving on. Final Fantasy 14 trailer. New expansion shows off the area of Ivalice. Crossover event with Monster Hunter World is coming this summer, so look forward to that. Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit makes another appearance. Dragon Quest 11, XI 11, is coming, and we'll have a Day 1 edition called the Edition of Light with exclusive DLC and a collector's edition called the Edition of Lost Time. I know there's another subtitle being thrown out with this game. I think it's called Echoes of an Elusive Age or something like that. But the way this was presented, it was presented with two different subtitles while it was being talked about the C3. It's weird. I don't know. But Dragon Quest 11 is coming. It's coming stateside. There's another crossover event announced between Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and Dragon Quest. FF Brave, I guess, is a mobile game. It's a gacha game. So that's me getting a crossover event with Dragon Quest, so that's a thing. Trailer is shown for a new IP from Platinum Games. Ooh, remember those guys? Called Babylon's Fall. Looks really interesting. That's coming to PS4 and PC in 2019. Nier Automata's Complete Edition that came to Xbox One. It's supposed to feature enhancements to the Xbox One X, but like I said before, or I didn't say before, it appears to be a digital-only release, which is better than nothing because I've heard it's a great game. Octopath Traveler for the Switch. Had a spot, looks amazing. I fell in love with the game after half an hour with the demo. They recently released a prologue demo on the Switch eShop, which I should mention that I did buy a Nintendo Switch this year, finally. Really wanted one last year for Splatoon 2, and funnily enough, I got a refurb unit from a deal on eBay I couldn't pass up around income tax time, and I got a Splatoon 2 console. I got everything with it except the retail box, which I can always buy that later. That's not a big deal, but it looks and works great. Haven't had a lot of time to play it. I bought a whole bunch of games for it. I was actually going to buy Octopath Traveler, which actually comes out this Friday. It comes out July 13th, but I just don't have time to play it. And RPGs especially scare me because of the time investment that they have. So it looks really good, though. It's like a 2D, but like a sharp 2D or 2.5D look. It follows like 8 different characters that each have their own side stories before you can meet up and party with some of them, or like be in a party with some of them and explore the world. And there's like a world story that brings them all in. It's great. Just download the demo for that if you have a Switch. And if you like traditional JRPGs, don't sleep on it. It has the active time battle system that's famous in the older Final Fantasy games. If that sounds like right up your alley, definitely check that out. It looks like a phenomenal game. They have a Wayfarer edition coming out, which is a $100 collector's edition. Comes with an 8-page pop-up book, 2-sided cloth map, physical soundtrack, and a replica coin. That's to resemble the currency that's available in the game. Looks really cool. Check out Octopath Traveler. Just Cause 4 will be the most ambitious game in the series yet. Extreme weather, improved enemy AI, and the ability to place booster rockets on objects, even more objects, I guess in this case. Comes out December 4th for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. There's a new game announced called The Quiet Man coming to PS4 and PC. The teaser suggests that this could be a third-person fighting game in the vein of The Bouncer. Ooh, that's a deep cut from Square's back catalog of games. Remember The Bouncer for the PS2, which was basically like a tech demo for the PS2. Very, very early PS2 game. Very early release for the PlayStation 2. But that's what it kind of looked like when they showed like a little snippets of this gameplay. That's the vibe I got from it. So I don't know if they're revisiting that type of gameplay or what. But more details to come out about that in August. So next month we'll find out more about The Quiet Man. That was about it for Square. Yeah. No mention of the Final Fantasy VII remake, so eat a dick, everyone who was looking for that. But I think there was a quote that was released later on that said, yeah, from the director of that game, it's like, yeah, we announced that game a little too early. They got a lot of work to do on the Final Fantasy VII remake, so I wouldn't expect that for probably at least a couple more years. Then we move on to Ubisoft. Conference opens with its annual Just Dance number. Just Dance 2019 comes out this October. You know, a very enthusiastically dancing panda and his entourage, or his marching band, or whatever the fuck, you know, help pass that message along very succinctly. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was the next thing shown. Still just a CGI trailer. They didn't show a ton of gameplay footage, but after a brief trailer, yeah, it's still in pre-alpha stage. It's going to be an open world, which, and a Ubisoft game with an open world, I mean, thank God I was sitting down when I told you guys that, right? Real stretch. This looks like to be the most ambitious one yet. Fans are urged to submit content for the game via Joseph Gordon-Levitt's hit record medium. So I guess he's a co-owner of this company that handles data for this type of game. So if you want to submit your skills to Ubisoft and never ever get paid for it, but see it used in one of their AAA games, I guess this is right up your alley if you want to go there. Rainbow Six Siege is now up to 35 million registered players. That's cool. It's nice to see that game getting support and that game being very successful. Another thing that was mentioned about Beyond Good and Evil 2, the new trailer that was shown, they shown Jade at the end of it. I guess this is the Jade before we knew Jade from Beyond Good and Evil 1, since they're billing this game as a prequel. So I guess she was evil at one point, because she's the protagonist and the original Beyond Good and Evil, as everyone knows who played it. So that was a little story tidbit that was revealed this year. But moving on past that in Rainbow Six, guys riding dirt bikes show up on stage. Trials is always about crashing with style. Okay. Trials Rising is going to be the new Trials game that comes out February 2019 for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch, so all modern platforms. The Division 2, all post-launch content will be free for The Division 2. Donkey Kong is coming to Mario plus Rabbids. A live musical performance drives this home. DK Adventure DLC comes out on the 26th, so that has been out now for a couple weeks. So if you're itching for more Mario plus Rabbids content for your Switch, DK's your man. Skull and Bones comes back this year to show off more, especially ship and crew customization. More gameplay elements are shown off, including exploration, ship combat, plundering treasure from sunken ships, and more. So Sea of Thieves, the good, interesting version, is basically what this game's being called to be. Elijah Wood, Frodo, as you know him from the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies, is making a VR adventure game with Ubisoft called Transference that is coming out this fall. There was, I think this was also announced last year or the year before, but it was in very, very early stages, so that they're still working on that. Starlink, the space action games to life title, using real toys for the Nintendo Switch. I guess there's a way, the same way amiibos interact with the Switch, you're going to buy little figurines for this, and it's going to tie into Starlink somehow. Shigeru Miyamoto himself is presented with a miniature R-Wing replica in honor of the creative partnership after being introduced from the crowd by Yves Guillemot, because Star Fox and his crew, I think his crew, are going to be in this game. At least Star Fox is going to be in it, but this game releases on October 16th. Players of the Switch version will be able to buy Star Fox themed figurines. I don't know why I put that, because this is going to be a Nintendo Switch exclusive. Why would they put Star Fox in a Ubisoft game and it's going to come out on Xbox and PlayStation? That would be pretty wild, but I don't think that's going to happen ever. For Honor also got a spot. Speaking of previously released games being updated properly, there's a free-to-play version for PC that's able to be downloaded for the next week during E3. New DLC called Marching Fire is set to release on October 16th on all platforms, adds a new faction and 4x4 Castle Siege mode called Breach. So it's nice to see that game still getting some love. I haven't played For Honor really since close to when I got it to release, when it was still like the same 4 factions. Or the 3 factions, I'm sorry, the Knights, the Vikings, and the Samurai. I haven't played it since then, so I'm sure it looks almost like a completely different game now. I don't know. Delphine Dassé comes out to dish on The Crew 2. Came out on June 19th. The trailer shows off cross-country gameplay like its predecessor, only with Air and Sea vehicles in addition to race cars. Jeff Gertzman from Giant Bomb, because I listen to the Giant Bomb cast every week. I look forward to it every week. He did not have a good analysis to present about this game. He said there's not nearly enough content to support this game costing $60. There's more content coming out. Like, they have a roadmap of how they want content delivered, but the content right now is so shallow that not only is it not recommended to buy for $60, there's higher tiers as Ubisoft games go, where they have the $100 gold edition where you pay for the season pass up front and everything. It just makes this game is apparently so bare bones, it makes that just borderline insulting. So, caveat emptor, buyer beware on The Crew 2. Definitely do your research if you're interested in that. Yeah, had a not such a good launch. So, but hopefully the way Ubisoft takes care of their games post-release, hopefully that won't be a problem sooner rather than later. Assassin's Creed Odyssey finally closes out the conference. Takes place in ancient Greece on land and sea. Go on a quest to save your family from your enemies. Not exactly original stuff, but Assassin's Creed fans love their Assassin's Creed. Should have more of an RPG feel this time around, I guess. You choose between 2 characters whom share a similar narrative. That comes out on October 5th. No fucking Splinter Cell. I believe Splinter Cell was part of the leaks it was the big Walmart leak before E3, where a bunch of the titles that I mentioned before I got into the E3 notes were leaked. Splinter Cell was among them, but it wasn't announced. Which leads me to believe, and Jeff Gertzman of Giant Bomb said the same thing, where maybe Ubi is working on a Splinter Cell, but it's so early on, it's a little too rough that it didn't have the presence to push anything that Ubisoft did show off the E3 conference stage to actually show it. But it's a bummer. I really hope they're working on a Splinter Cell, because it makes sense. It was leaked right before E3, and Ghost Recon Wildlands had an event with Sam Fisher in it from Splinter Cell. Thank God I don't bet money on these things, because I would have bet money that this was the year Ubisoft was going to show Splinter Cell. They brought back Rainbow Six to much acclaim. They brought back the Ghost Recon name for Wildlands, though Wildlands really doesn't feel like a Ghost Recon game really at all, at least from the open beta when I played that. Now you got Splinter Cell. It just seems the next obvious choice to bring back like a beloved series like that, because Splinter Cell was a good series. Speaking of Splinter Cell, I think one of the games with gold this month, it's going to be Splinter Cell Conviction the second half of July, which is cool. That's a crazy coincidence. But yeah, hopefully a new Splinter Cell comes out soon. That'd be pretty dope. Then we had the PC gaming show, and I'm going to run through this as fast as I can, because I just have it here for completionist sake, because I I want to build a PC eventually, but I don't have a PC now, so I don't really game on the PC as much. The pre-roll had PC game trivia with a giant Drake's duck and some woman. No, this is not a fever dream. This is E3. There was a woman and a guy in a giant duck costume that was branded with Drake's duck, the snack cakes Drake's. The Drake's duck was here. Sean Day 9 Plot is back on hosting duties this year, along with co-host Frankie Ward, so they were doing the MC duties. Road exclusive of Satisfactory from Coffee Stain Games. This is a first-person futuristic crafting game. That looks neat. There's a reveal of an indie game called Neocab, a futuristic cyberpunk narrative game. Battle Royale game called Maverick's Proving Grounds. James Thompson from Automation Games explains it will be very different by having 1,000 concurrent players at the same time, and will have a first-person view, as opposed to all the other Battle Royale games that are out right now. Which doesn't really make much sense, because PUBG has a first-person view too. Whatever. Closed beta sign-up is live at mavericks.gg. The Forgotten City gameplay trailer, which is a reimagining of a Skyrim mod. That's coming out in 2019. They took the Skyrim mod, Forgotten City, apparently made a whole game out of it. A new game that has a blast from the past, Stardock's Star Control Origins. So a new Star Control game is kind of sort of new, is what I'm trying to say. That comes out September 20th. Crytek showed off gameplay for Hunt Showdown. It's up next. Yeah, it showed off after Star Control Origins, showing off new content like a vintage crossbow and throwing knives. It actually looks pretty cool. Archangel Hellfire was shown next, multiplayer, 4 new maps and tons of mechs. Early access to that comes out July 17th. I'm guessing on Steam. The Sinking City was shown next, an action and investigation game that has a sprinkling of eternal darkness in it, with the player having hallucinations once in a while. That's right, this is going to have a sanity meter, like Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem had on the GameCube. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye on The Sinking City, it's called. Warframe news, our one of the longest standing, most enduring free-to-play games, Warframe. New content pack there's a new content pack coming out called The Sacrifice. Was supposed to come out near the end of June. TennoCon will be live on Twitch on July 7th at 6 p.m., which that just recently happened, so I hope you tuned into TennoCon, because it happened already. Oh, hey guys, good news. Sega remembered the PC exists. That's pretty good news, right? Trailers shown for Bayonetta, Vanquish, Puyo Puyo Tetris, and Shenmue 1 and 2, which recently got announced that Shenmue 1 and 2 are being remastered, and they're coming out next month. Shining Resonance Refrain, which is like a third-person action game, I guess, in the Shining expanded universe. Shining Force, Shining in the Darkness, Shining Force Neo, Shining. Here's Johnny. No, that's the wrong Shining. The other Shining. Valkyria Chronicles 4, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza 0. All those games I just named are coming to PC either by the end of this year or early next year. Killing Floor 2 news, which Killing Floor 2 had a free-to-play weekend on Xbox One, and I pretty much enjoyed it. It's pretty fun. It's fun enough for me to put on my want list and wait to get when it goes on sale. 4 major updates planned, with the next one coming in August, which will allow you to add creativity to your weapon loadout, among other things. Then it showed a trailer for Summer Sideshow, Treacherous Skies for Killing Floor 2. It takes place aboard a Queen Victoria airship with 4 new weapons, and Mrs. Foster is now a playable character. But it's just too bad Mrs. Foster is like a $10 piece of DLC, which kind of sucks. At least that's how she was presented in the free-to-play weekend I just played. Road Redemption, the Road Rash spiritual successor. I've been keeping my eye on this. Will be published by Tripwire Interactive, bringing it beyond Steam. Beyond Steam. Does that mean consoles? I hope it means consoles, because if it means consoles, I want this game. I've been dying for a new Road Rash game. And we all know EA's not going to make it unless it's like a fucking tap-to-win fucking mobile game to go with fucking Command and Conquer. Fucking assholes. New game called Maneater is revealed, where you get to play as a shark at a beach resort. This was kind of neat. You can say it's an open-world action RPG or Shark PG. Untitled Publisher comes out to reveal 3 new games. That's their name, Untitled Publisher. I know this because they had some couch time with Giant Bomb's nightly E3 show. The company is literally called Untitled Publisher. Bravery Network Online, Ars Technica describes it as a cross between Final Fantasy and Scott Pilgrim. That comes out in 2019. Morningstar, short teaser for an adventure game in an isolated world. And finally, the third game is called Overwhelm, which is a 2D shooter available now. So they came out to show those 3 games off. Jurassic World Evolution was shown off from Frontier Development. Looks amazing. Should have been released already, but I think it got delayed until the beginning of July. So it just recently got released. So if you're looking for that, check that out. Insomniac Games introduces a new VR game called Stormland. Seems to be set in first person where you play as a robot that can fly, I guess. Primarily sports the Oculus Rift. Supposed to be able to retach your arm after it falls off and climb ledges in an intuitive way in VR. So if you're wearing VR, you have to actually prop up and pull up if you're hanging on a ledge and you want to pull yourself up to land from the ledge. Looks interesting, I guess. Nightcall from developers Raw Fury is a black and white noir style game that's shown off. Also from Raw Fury is an action game with sleek cartoonish graphics called Sable. Open world desert exploration game. So if that tickles your fancy, check out Sable. Star Citizen, fucking Star Citizen, has the nerve to make an appearance here. Apparently Cloud Imperium Games is still hard at work on it. Yeah, sure guys, I'm sure you are. Prepare for Alpha 3.2 coming soon. Is this game ever gonna fucking come out? Is this game, what is this game? I think Chris Roberts is his name. Is that the Wing Commander guy? I think this is his vision or something. But I think people are paying thousands of dollars for ships that are in this game. The game's not even out yet. What is this game? Say what you want about No Man's Sky, but at least it came out. At least it's something you can play and you can hold a game case of it in your hands. What is Star Citizen? Is this the ultimate pyramid scheme of video games? Star Citizen, man. I don't know. I don't know about that game. Eric Ackerson from Acer comes out on the stage to talk a little hardware because, of course, this is PC gaming and it's sponsored by PC Gamer and all this stuff. So, of course, they got to show off a little hardware. New next level 4K displays capable of 144 hertz and eye tracking technology. I don't know if they had an actual name for the monitors, but that's what they're working on right now. Or maybe it was just display technology because they might have talked about laptops too. I don't know. Another space game called Genesis Alpha 1 is shown. Build your own ship and experiment with your crew's DNA. That comes out September 4th. Webster the Duck from Drake's Cakes is still here cooling out, y'all, just so you know. Why do I have a hankering for Funny Bones now? New content for Don't Starve, a DLC pack called Hamlet, showing off new area and elements from that game. Just Cause 4 is shown again, just in case you guys didn't know that Just Cause 4 is coming out this December. Has improved HDR and interactive weather systems and unrivaled draw distance, especially on the PC version. I put here, buy Just Cause 4 please, we're begging you. It's going to be a cool game, we promise. Okay, Just Cause 4, we get it. Tornadoes, rocket boosters, Rico Rodriguez, Just Cause 4, we get it. Can we move on from the Just Cause now, please? Oh, man, I'd make a Just Cause funny pun here, but I think the oxygen is slowly dissipating in this room. Overkill The Walking Dead. Looks like a knockoff of Left 4 Dead from the trailer. Launches November 8th. The gameplay trailer on GameSpot's channel for this makes it look super boring and generic. Here's hoping it gets tweaked further. Go to GameSpot's YouTube channel and look up the gameplay video for Overkill The Walking Dead. This game looks like fucking ass. I recently got my hands on 7 Days to Die. Remember that game from Telltale? It's this survival, first-person crafting weird game. That game's so bad it barely qualifies as a game. This game is maybe half a notch above that. It just looks sad. There was no music. The sound effects sounded tinny and terrible. And Oh, the YouTube comments rip this fucking game apart. If you scroll down and read the comments, like there's so many comments like, yeah, I was kind of excited for this game till I watched this trailer. That's something you want to hear. Speaking of Walking Dead, the final season of Telltale's proper Walking Dead, like their choose your own adventure game or whatever, is shown. Unscripted combat takes the place of QTE swiping this time. Clementine returns one last time to face a whole new set of challenges. That comes out August 14th, so about a month you have to wait for the final season of Telltale's game. Noita, Noita, I don't know if I'm saying that right, an action roguelike where everything is simulated, is shown next. That looks pretty sick. Then comes out the spiritual successor to Theme Hospital, Bullfrog's Theme Hospital. It's called 2 Point Hospital. 2 doctors come out to elaborate but are having surgical problems with their microphones. These poor guys, like they came out on stage to talk to Day 9 and I guess their microphones wouldn't work, so the one doctor had to like lean into Sean Platt's microphone that he was wearing on him. It just looked a little embarrassing. Not only it does everything from the Bullfrog classic seem enhanced, but it's kept its sense of humor. New diseases to cure include turtlehead and a monobrow infestation. Comes out this fall, looks kind of neat, looks cute. Hi-Res Studios, the makers of Paladin, shows off Realm Royale, which I guess is their next game that they're in beta with. Imagine a fantasy-esque Fortnite with 5 different classes. That's basically what it is. Available on Steam, but is slated to come to consoles in the near future due to its success, so people on consoles will get to try that out. Next comes a game that seems like a cross between Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing, made by just 2 developers, and it's Ooblets. I think this was mentioned last year or the year before, but Ooblets makes another appearance. It's coming to PC and Xbox One later this year, if a Harvest Moon / Animal Crossing game sounds interesting to you. Anno 1800 is shown off, the Anno games. The series never seems to die. The latest Anno game is bigger and better than ever with 19th century flair. So if you played Anno, if you've seen Anno, this doesn't really look like anything drastically different from that. Another Battle Royale game from Tiny Build that takes inspiration from the Cyanide and Happiness comic, Rapture Rejects, the game is called. Looks like a multiplayer game in the vein of Don't Starve. Seems neat. Sign up for the alpha at rapturerejects.com. Looks kind of neat. New trailer for Hitman 2 showing Agent 47 at a racetrack in Miami where just about anything can be a weapon. Highest detail yet in a Hitman game with close to 2,000 people in the crowd at the same time. Also, you can attack people with a fish, which I do approve of. You know, nothing like being a bald-headed assassin, badass assassin, walking around with a giant fish and just slapping people with it. Or as I like to call it, Friday. At this point, the crowd seems to be happier this is the end of the conference than I am. That was the PC Gaming Conference. And if you think my notes dragged that conference on long, try going on YouTube and actually watching it. All fucking, like 2 hours and 15 minutes of it. Whew. All right. We are very close to done. Just a few more pages. Hammer this out now, because next we have Sony. Sony. Oh man, you want to talk about E3 announcements where the message was muddled as to what they could have just came out and said? This was fucking strange. One of the strangest things I think I've ever seen Sony do at E3. But Sean Layden graces us with his presence from a church. A church. I'm like, what are they doing in a church? Like, Sean's his mic seemed far away, like he didn't seem to have like a mic on him, so there was some ambience to the way he was talking. Like other cameras that were showing off the E3 conference were picking up his voice rather than him wearing a mic, which was really weird. I don't know if they're trying to go like an old school vibe. I don't know why they're in a church. Did they book this at the last minute? Did they not think E3 was going to happen this year? Are they saying they're more powerful than God in the video game space is why they're in a church? Like, nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Yeah, I wrote, Sean Layden graces us with his presence from a church. A church. We have reached peak E3, everybody. And then Gustavo Santaolalla, I hope I said that name right, the lead composer for The Last of Us 2, performs for the audience via banjo. So we go to Sean Layden introducing Sony's conference in a church. Sean Layden exits stage right. And now we got one of the composers from The Last of Us Part 2 playing us a song with a banjo. I'm not making this up. This is what happened. You can go see it for yourself. Finally, we get to see stuff with video games. Yay, because we're at E3, and that's what E3 is all about, is video games. A new trailer shows Ellie from the first game at a get-together having a drink, and it's kind of shown why they presume to go with the church setting that they ushered everybody in with the Sony press conference into. Because the trailer that was shown in The Last of Us Part 2 showed a very similar environment to where the Sony press conference started. So they went through all this trouble to match the aesthetic that's in the Last of Us Part 2 trailer. So they had everybody, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, come into the press conference. That was actually a temporary place to start the conference, or a temporary, yeah. And then after The Last of Us Part 2 was shown, they ushered people to another conference room to show off everything else. I know The Last of Us 2 is a highly anticipated game. The Last of Us is one of the best PlayStation games ever made. Kind of a subjective opinion, but it was very, very popular. A lot of people like that game. Was it really worth renting out a second venue to temporarily show off The Last of Us 2? Like, was it really worth that level of immersion to show this off? Like, it was just fucking bizarre. But speaking of The Last of Us 2, the main reason we're here to actually see the fucking game. Ellie from the first game is at a get-together having a drink, eventually meeting her presumed girlfriend, which then goes into a quick transition to gameplay of her fighting off bandits in a variety of ways in a wooded area. Yeah, apparently Ellie from the first game has a girlfriend this time around. They danced, they kissed. People made a huge fucking hoopla and a huge fucking deal about it. I don't know why. You know, there's two women that are in relationships in this world. I'm sorry if that's a newsflash to you. I'm sorry if you have a problem with that, but that's just the way things are. Different people have different sexual orientations. That's just the world we live in. So the sooner you deal with it, the better. Anyway, the trailer for The Last of Us Part 2 looked really, really good. Once they finally showed the gameplay and everything of it, you know, seems like a top-notch game. But after that was shown, we then go to a news desk with a quick intermission where Sean Layden, who was just on stage like 10 minutes ago, races out to this fake like news desk area they got set up outside. And he's like stalling for time. And according to the Giant Bomb crew, as I'm watching this conference, they were moving the entire audience into another room during this time. So they took everyone out of the church setting that they got just to show off The Last of Us Part 2 and into a proper conference room to then show everything else. And not everyone got back into the second conference room. Not all the journalists who were taking notes on this conference and stuff. So they're like checking Twitter on their phones to get updates from the conference that they're supposed to be at, taking notes at. Like, it's fucking weird, man. Like, wow. All for this one fucking game, like everybody knew they were going to talk about ahead of time. Like, I don't get it. But then again, I'm not Sony, so I don't get a lot of things they do. Then we go into more game announcements finally, after the hoopla's done and everyone's seated and everything. Black Ops 4 had a trailer, classic maps returning that were revealed before E3. We talked about that. They had the nerve to call the map pack Back in Black. Which, you know, whatever. I mean, if you're going to tie your game to the same name as a classic AC/DC album, you better make the game way fucking better than Black Ops 4. Come on. Speaking of Black Ops 3 is now free for PS Plus members because there's certain content in Black Ops 4 you couldn't get unless you had Black Ops 3. But that's not a problem because if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you should have Black Ops 3 now, which was nice of them. Yeah. It's nice seeing some content from Call of Duty given away that isn't greedy in any way, but whatever. Sizzle reel showing the Tetris effect, which can be played in VR and non-VR modes. We found that out around this time. Days Gone, Twin Mirror, and a couple VR games called Ghost Giant and Beat Saber were shown. They had a smaller indie reel than they had at Microsoft's conference. There's a trailer for Destiny 2's Forsaken content that's coming out September 4th. Now on to something actually interesting. Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima, but not without another musical performance, which is fine. Sweet screen looming over the new stage, though. They have this gigantic fucking screen in their proper conference room they ushered everybody into after The Last of Us Part 2 showing. This game blends together stealth and action. This game looks sick as fuck. I want this game in my butt, like right now, like yesterday. Like, this game looks amazing. This game looks like if they took the combat and aesthetics of Bushido Blade, the old Bushido Blade games from Squaresoft in the late 90s, and they made like a whole game out of it. Like, it looks like when he was in that one cinematic fight under the tree at the top of the hill towards the end of the trailer. Like, it looks like they were switching different stances in their sword fights, and they were dodging and parrying, and I never knew until that moment that I wanted a Bushido Blade type game, but with a fleshed out story and a beautiful environment like this. I think this gets my vote for best looking game of at E3. It looked amazing. Like, this is the one game where I had to pick my jaw up off the floor after I saw it. Phenomenal job they've been doing on this game so far. I'm going to keep a very close eye on it. Very excited to play it. So after that was shown, there was a new game shown from Remedy called Control, aka not Quantum Break. Definitely looks like a Remedy game with the time manipulation. Like, it just looks like a Remedy game. Like, they started that whole style. They started bullet timing games with the Max Payne games. Then it went to a few other games. Then it went to Quantum Break. Now it's going to Control. The thing I love about this game, though, is it reminded the Giant Bomb crew of Psyops, the Mindgate Conspiracy, which was a PS2 era game. And I love Psyops. It was great because I love telekinesis. I always say if I could have one superpower, I want telekinesis, like moving stuff with your mind. I always thought that was really, really cool. But it had very strong vibes of Psyops, which immediately made my ears perk up and my eyes pay closer attention to what was going on. It takes place in a large building called The Oldest House That Leads to Different Worlds. That comes out next year. No solid release date. Looks really cool, though. There are very brief skits in between each announcement during Sony's conference from Media Molecule's previously announced Dreams, which insinuates that it's still being worked on. They didn't talk about Dreams proper, but they showed like skits and snippets of it throughout the conference, which was a nice way to break up the monotony a little bit, which is great. This was another bombshell that was showed next. The Resident Evil 2 remake. Oh my god, this game looks fucking great. Finally shows its face. Complete overhaul in the same setting with the same characters. Just CGI, but it looks really good. There was a gameplay video that was released after this conference. It's like a 20-minute gameplay video on GameSpot's channel. Like, you guys got to check this out. I played the living fuck out of Resident Evil 2 when it came out. I loved that game. That is in the top 10 PlayStation 1 games of all time, no question. I had that game they made a port for Dreamcast. I had it on PC. I even had the port on the N64 where you can change like the blood color and stuff. I love Resident Evil 2. Probably my favorite in the entire series. This looks amazing. This looks like it's made by a team that loves Resident Evil 2 probably even more than I do. Paid very, very, very close attention. This remake is a labor of love. And I'm glad that it took them this long to show it, because you could just tell it's so much work has gone into this remake. It looks like it's in the Resident Evil 2 setting, but far more fleshed out with every little detail that you'd expect to see in Resident Evil 2, but it's played in like a Resident Evil 4 type gameplay which a lot of people rave about Resident Evil 4. I kind of fell off of the series at Code Veronica, so I didn't really play Resident Evil 4, so I didn't get a lot of the hoopla what Resident Evil 4 was about. So, but it looks fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. I can't wait to play this game. And no one will have to wait long, because it comes out on January 25th next year. And I put in all caps here. I'm like, watch the 17-minute gameplay video on GameSpot's channel, because holy shit, fam, this game looks fucking amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I'll give it to Sony, man. They had a little bit of quality over quantity in their conference. It was a really awkward start, really weird pacing at the start of the conference, but they brought out a couple heavy hitters, I have to admit. Granted, Resident Evil 2 Remakes is going to be a multi-platform title, but that was probably the best premiere that was at E3. Like, that looks amazing. Oh my god, that looks so good. Can't wait to play it. But moving on, the next game from Squanch Games and the creator of Rick and Morty is called Trover Saves the Universe. There was a quick snippet of that game, whatever that game's going to be. More Kingdom Hearts. Like I said before, this is where they showed off the Pirates of the Caribbean gameplay. Ship combat is a thing via both air and sea, so you're going to battle in air vehicles and ships as well. A limited edition Kingdom's Heart PS4 consoles revealed, for God's sake, so that system's coming out. It's like that meme, you know, yo dog, I heard you like Kingdom Hearts, so how about some Kingdom Hearts in your Kingdom Hearts? You want that? Good news, because an all-in-one package will be available to get the whole series in one shot. So what they're going to do on release, I don't know if this is going to be a limited thing or what, they're going to take the Kingdom Hearts compilations that are on the PS4 now, the 1.5 and 2.5 HD remix copy, and then they made the Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. They're going to bundle both of those discs with Kingdom Hearts 3 when it comes out. So I don't know if that's going to be like a collector's edition type thing, but you're going to be able to get your chance. If you really want to get into Kingdom Hearts, they're saying like this is the best time to do it. So you're going to get all three of those games, all three of those discs, I should say, because those compilations have more than one game on them. You're going to get them all in one shot, which is cool. So a lot of Kingdom Hearts happening this time, around this time of year. Then we go way off the fucking deep end, where we can't even see the deep end anymore, with Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima is a genius. This guy, or him and his team, whoever's doing the story for these games, and I know Kojima had a big hand in it because he did the same thing in Snatcher. I'm sure he did the same thing in Police Knots. I didn't get to play Police Knots yet. The Metal Gear Solid series. Kojima's games have a way, based on the ones I played, where they're introduced, they make absolutely no sense at all when they're first revealed, when you first get little tastes of what's going on, little by little, like more is revealed. But it's so batshit crazy that you have no idea what's going on, but you cannot help but be intrigued by it. And the more you dig, and the more you get into these games, and the deeper you dig, and the more you get into these games, and it's like the deeper you get, it all starts to make sense. In this weird way, but it starts to make sense. That's kind of the best way I can best way I can explain Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation, which I consider that to be the best PlayStation game of all time. Metal Gear Solid is a game I bought for full price. I remember going into EB Games and buying it for $50 when it was new. It was worth every penny. It's one of my favorite games of all time. The story in that game, when you're playing through it, there's just so many loose ends that need to be tied up. And most of them get tied up, but it's never in the way you expect them to be tied up. What I'm trying to say is, I love any game with Hideo Kojima involved in it especially for the story. And I don't know if that's the way that those games are supposed to be interpreted, but it's my personal interpretation of it. Like, that dude can tell a story. I got fully involved in Snatcher's story. I love Snatcher. I finally got to sit down and play that. It's a fantastic story. Metal Gear Solid, fantastic story. Not without its flaws, but a fantastic story. And I don't expect this to be any different, but it's hard to put the Death Stranding trailer, the new trailer, into words, but I'm going to try. The Norman Reedus character is seen traveling across various landscapes, delivering packages, has a small robot drone buddy with him. Man, this guy's dedicated to making those deliveries. This guy will run through rivers. This guy will hike up mountains. Like, it does not matter. Like, he needs to make these fucking deliveries. I don't know if he's delivering human organs or something, man, but this guy's going. Then it shows the first quote, "Give me your hand in life." Cuts to the main character focused again on what appears to be a smiley type face on the back of his hand. Then handprints appear in the ground. The female character appears and they stay silent as the invisible apparition that makes the handprints goes away. Second quote, "Give me your hand in death." "Give me your hand in flesh" is the third quote. Apparently he can make newborn clones of himself at will in case he gets surrounded and kidnapped and dies. He tries to sneak through the area, but eventually succumbs to demons. There was a place in the trailer where he's in this building, but he has to get out, but there's these, like, ghosts surrounding the immediate area. And what he does is he makes a newborn clone of himself through this device he carries, and he gets sucked down into the ground by these demons. And I guess he's, like, reborn with this clone baby he made of himself. I don't know. It ends with the female character eating a bug and transforming into another woman, and that's it. I don't know. That's a Kojima game in a nutshell. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to make any sense, but when it comes out, when people play it, when they start, making their theories about what's going on, then it'll start to make more sense and start to, be intriguing and be something amazing. I have so much faith in Hideo Kojima. Neo 2 is a thing. Neo got a sequel announced, but there's no release date for it, so it must be very early along. Trailer for Insomniac's Spider-Man is shown. Gameplay looks fast and fluid. Electro, Rhino, and Scorpion and the Vulture are all shown from the comics. Trailer ends with Spidey talking to someone after being overcome by all the villains at the same time at the top of a building, where he finally confronts them all, and that's when the trailer ends. So I don't know who comes to his aid. I guess we won't know until a future date or when the game comes out. I don't have a release date here, but I'm pretty sure the game comes out next year. I'm not entirely sure. And then the final thing, they showed a quick teaser for a new VR game post-conference. It's called Deracine. It's from Software. That's From Software's foray into a VR game. Not much is really known about it. It seems like an adventure game, but that was basically Sony's conference. Ghost of Tsushima and that Resident Evil 2 remake, oh my god, I can't wait to play either one of those. They both look amazing. And then we're going to go roll through Nintendo, which was on Tuesday morning and pretty much marks the end of the main E3 shows. Nintendo opens the conference with a gameplay trailer for Daemon Cross Machina, or Daemon X Machina. Third-person robot shooter, heavy armor core vibes watching this. Looks interesting, comes out next year. Next Switch trailer, it's Anime O'Clock, y'all. It's for DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, called Torna, the Golden Country. So that's the next big area for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That comes out this September. Then Reggie Fils-Aimé comes out, and his body is ready, and it's here to talk about the success and portability of the Nintendo Switch and to talk more about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, the Pokemon RPG I mentioned at the start of this video. 3D RPGs where you play with a friend on the same system and even import Pokemon from the Pokemon Go mobile app. So from what he's saying, any Pokemon you've captured in the mobile app, you can somehow transfer them into this new RPG and use them in the RPG or play as them. I'm not entirely sure, but there's going to be connectivity between the two things, which is cool. And if that's not enough, he introduces a circular Pokeball Plus controller that works like a Joy-Con, and it comes with Mew. So there's a special controller for the Pokemon game, and it comes with a Pokemon in it. This all comes out November 16th. Super Mario Party trailer. There's going to be a Mario Party. But instead of Mario Party 27, or whatever they're up to, it's just called Super Mario Party. So then now we're going to have Super Mario Party 2, Super Mario Party 3, Super Mario Party 4, Super Mario Party 5. Has mini games that play seamlessly through multiple Switch screens. They showed a group of people playing where they had like 2 Switch screens that interacted with each other. There was a mini game involving characters going up and down pipes across like 2 screens, which was neat. That comes out October 5th, so that's actually coming out this year. There was a teaser trailer for the new Fire Emblem game called 3 Houses. The game comes out spring 2019. Fortnite is coming to Switch, which is like the biggest no-brainer of the decade pretty much. Not only that, but it's available at the announcement. So it's been out for about a month now. Reggie gets back on the mic to introduce Overcooked 2, which includes improvements to ingredients and dynamically changing kitchens, and the fact that you can easily transfer your food between your teammates better. That comes out August 7th. Killer Queen Black comes to console later this year, and Hollow Knight with all of its DLC included is also coming to Switch today. And I can vouch for that because there was a deal on Hollow Knight where you got it for like $7 if you switched your region to like the Mexican store and you bought it in pesos. It only cost like $7 because Nintendo gracefully finally made games region free this time around. So I got Hollow Knight for like $7 when it came out on Switch because I heard it was great. I can't pass up deals like that. Splatoon 2 is having an open tournament in Smash Bros. The Smash Brothers Invitational following the Treehouse coverage this year. So they had the Treehouse coverage where they fleshed out a few more games and talked about some games. Then they had the tournaments after the Treehouse coverage. So that happened. Square's Octopath Traveler, which is a Switch exclusive, gets another spot. That comes out again July 13th. There was a demo made available on June 14th. It's been available since then. It contains the first 3 hours of the game. So if you're aching for a traditional Japanese RPG from the makers of Bravely Default and Bravely Second on the DS, definitely check out Octopath Traveler. It looks really fucking cool. Like I said, I played it for half an hour and I definitely want it, but I'm probably going to wait for a sale because I don't have time to play the shit I have now. So it's just going to sit on my shelf if I go buy it. So that money's better spent elsewhere right now. But I will get it eventually. There's a sizzle reel, another indie sizzle reel, all about them indies this year, which is cool. Ubisoft Starlink, which comes out October 14th. Area of Valor comes out this fall. Minecraft, which comes out June 21st. That came and went. Sushi Striker, that's already out. The Donkey Kong Adventures DLC for Mario plus Rabbids, that's out. Pix Ark, that comes out this fall, which I guess is a spin-off of Ark, Survival Evolved, that early access Ark game that came to consoles from PC. Just Dance 19 comes out October 26th. Dragon Ball FighterZ is coming out later this year. Splatoon 2's Octo expansion, I think that just recently came out. It's an expansion for the single-player part of Splatoon 2. Captain Toad comes out July 13th, has Super Mario Odyssey levels this time around. Crash Insane Trilogy is out. Ninjala comes out spring 2019, if you're keeping up on Ninjala. FIFA 19, September 28th. Carcassonne, which I guess is based off of the board game, comes out this winter. Ark Survival Evolved, the proper game's coming out this fall. Wasteland 2 Director's Cut's coming out this fall. Paladins Champions of the Realm, the free-to-play Overwatch type game, that's out now. Dark Souls Remastered comes out this summer, if it's not out already. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy comes out September 7th. That seems neat. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate comes out August 28th. Wolfenstein 2 is out. The World Ends With You Final Remix comes out this fall. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Mega Man 11, don't forget that comes out October 2nd. And Mario Tennis Aces already came out. They just highlighted it because it's basically new. Well, it wasn't even out the time at E3. That's why they highlighted it. Woo! Then we finally head to Kyoto, Japan, where Shinya Takahashi talks about the success of the Switch, giving thanks to their publishing partners, and to introduce none other than Masahiro Sakurai. the series director of Super Smash Brothers, if that name didn't sound familiar. And basically the rest of their conference was about Super Smash Brothers. Or should I say Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. They're doing like the fucking Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 treatment with this game where, hey, you know what characters that should be in this Smash Brothers iteration? How about everyone? How about every single character that's ever been in every Smash Brothers game ever, just throw them all in. And not only that, but a lot of the characters have been rebalanced, and most of the stages from all of the previous games have been included in this game. So it's like the biggest, greatest hits compilation. Not even that, it's more like a box set of like almost all of the studio recordings from your favorite artist or your favorite band. Like it's a comprehensive Smash Brothers release. And that's basically what they went on to talk about for like the last 15 or 20 minutes of this show. They claimed after E3 they have more games in the works, they have more games to release very soon, but it's just they wanted to put the spotlight on Smash Brothers Ultimate. To the point where if you're not looking forward to Smash Brothers Ultimate for whatever reason and you have a Nintendo Switch, then this conference was kind of a bummer for you in a way. But development on the game is close to complete, Sakurai says, and he goes on to introduce all the characters that will be in the newest iteration for the Switch, with the numbers next to them representing what order they joined the series at. And it basically the trailer ended up with showing that everyone's going to be in it. From what I understand, you're going to unlock them in like the streamlined process Sakurai was talking about, where you'll start out with the original N64 roster, which I think was only like 8 to 10 characters, and through like a seamless set of challenges, you're going to unlock the characters in a specific order, which kind of gives a sense of progression to the game, I guess. I don't know. Which it would be a little overwhelming if you got them all at once, but some people might want them all at once. I don't know. But I like progression in games as long as it's fair. I like working towards a goal. It keeps the game interesting. Several characters and battle mechanics have been tweaked for this version of the game. While not every stage from the previous games are here, a massive list of them are returning. Nintendo GameCube controllers will be compatible with the game. All amiibo figures will be compatible as well. So it's by far the most comprehensive Smash game released ever. And it's not only that, but they ended it with 2 big announcements after they announced Smash Brothers Ultimate. Ridley from the Metroid games is going to be in it. He's going to be the new playable character for this game. And it comes out this year. It comes out this December. So it's not even going to be this February 2019 game of like the 75 games that are going to be released in February of this year, apparently, as of this video. But yeah, it comes out this December, which is great. You could tell they've been hard at work at it, because they could have easily pushed that back to next year with everything else. But they're going to get out in time for the holidays, unless it gets pushed back. So we'll see. Then, guys, I just have a few miscellaneous announcements here. And then I'm going to wrap this up, because I've been at this for quite a while and my voice is getting tired and I got some games to play and I want to relax a little bit. So I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, I think, too. But miscellaneous announcements like I do every year, but there wasn't really a lot of miscellaneous announcements this year. Nidhogg 2, if you're familiar with Nidhogg 2 from the PS4 and PC, it's finally getting an Xbox One release. It comes out July 16th. So not this coming week, but the next week, that Monday, it'll be available on Xbox One, which is great, because I've always been a bit jealous of Nidhogg. It looked like such a simplistic but fun game on the PS4, so I can't wait to play Nidhogg 2 on Xbox One. Total War 3 Kingdoms, speaking of proper real-time strategy games, was shown. Gameplay was shown off at that. For pre-alpha footage, it looks pretty fucking sick, but if you're familiar with Total War, this time it's getting the 3 Kingdoms treatment with the amazing leaders and strategists and warriors from the 3 Kingdoms era in China. That comes out in spring 2019. Code Vein, which has been talked about for a few years now, I think. It's coming from Bandai Namco. It's like an anime Dark Souls kind of thing, or like a third-person action type game. It's kind of weird. Not much is known about it besides having a vampire theme. set in a post-apocalyptic world. You're among a hidden society of revenants called Vane, and you have to hold out against monsters known as the Lost. Not much else was leaked about this game other than that, but it comes out in September, so we don't have to wait much longer to find out what that game's all about. GTFO is a hardcore cooperative first-person shooter for PC that stresses teamwork, communication, and quick reflexes. Made by developer 10 Chambers Collective, made up of the designer behind Payday 2, and also has a writer that worked on The Last of Us and Doom. So if those two people from those respective backgrounds give you any interest, definitely check this game out. It's PC only, as far as I know. Yeah, comes out later this year, but if it does well, I'd like to see something like this come to consoles. Looks pretty promising. Check out a gameplay trailer for that. Limited Run Games, the people who make, well, limited physical runs of games that are usually digital only, actually had a booth at E3. They had a little bit of E3 news. They had a small list of games that they're going to make coming up on the horizon. So if you want a physical copy of any of these games I'm about to list, they have a small list here. Definitely get on that sooner rather than later, before they're all gone. Oceanhorn, Monster of Uncharted Seas. That's going to get a physical Nintendo Switch copy, available now until July 11th. Hopefully they're not all gone by then. Read Only Memories, there's a collector's edition that's going to be for the PlayStation Vita. Again, these are all physical releases for games that are normally digital only. That's the whole point of Limited Run. That came out on June 29th, so the window's gone for that. Valhalla, it's spelled V-A-1-1-H-A-L-L-A for the PS Vita. That came out on June 29th. Night Trap 25th anniversary for the Nintendo Switch. Pre-orders began on the 6th of July. They're going to continue for the rest of this month. So if you want Night Trap on your Nintendo Switch, there you go. Night Trap was a bad game back then, and it's still a bad game now, okay? Like Sewer Shark was better than Night Trap. It was back in the day, and it still is today. I said it, and I'm not taking it back. Observer for PS4 comes out this month. Thumper for PS4 and Nintendo Switch comes out this month. Salt and Sanctuary for PS4 and PS Vita comes out August 24th for Salt and Sanctuary. Cosmic Star Heroine for the Nintendo Switch. That's to be announced. Ukulele for the Nintendo Switch comes out in August. Golf Story for the Nintendo Switch comes out in September. Layers of Fear Legacy comes out for the PS4 and Switch in October. Senran Kagura Bon Appetit Full Course Edition comes out for the PS Vita this summer. Exile's End comes out this summer for the PS4 and PS Vita. Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Overdrive comes out for PS4 and PS Vita this summer. Iconoclasts for PS4 and PS Vita comes out Q3 2018, so within the next few months. The House of Fata Morgana Dreams of the Revenants Edition for PS4 PS Vita. Q1 2019, so not till next year. And they also announced Dust and Elysian Tale for the Nintendo Switch, and Spelunky for the PS4 and PS Vita. But they don't have dates for those, but they just got announced. So keep an eye out on those. A few more things, guys. Yes, Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown still exists. Yes, it had a gameplay trailer. Yes, it's still coming out this year. Maybe. Still says 2018, no solid release date beyond that, so I don't know what's going on with that, but it looks like Ace Combat. Looks amazing. The story's supposed to central around convicts that are highly expendable. I guess they're being forced to go on missions or rot in prison for the rest of their lives. So, we'll see what goes on with that. I loved Ace Combat. Ace Combat 4 especially, Shattered Skies for the PS2. Best thing I could say about Ace Combat 4 is that it was too short. And it's a good game when that's the worst thing you could say about it. That's it, guys. Those are my E3 2018 notes. Kind of a shallow E3 this year. No really big bombshell announcements. But the more I think about it, the more I think it was just how everything got leaked. Like the new Assassin's Creed, stuff like that. Christmas morning is still special, but when you know what half of the presents from Santa are going to be, it kind of takes the suspense out of it a little bit. That's the best analogy I can think up when I'm half tired at 2:30 in the morning. But yeah. Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 2 remake. Nintendo, like Smash Brothers looks great, but it's basically going to be a greatest hits version of all the Smash Brothers games, which isn't a bad thing. And nowadays you can play it online, which if the online is seamless, it's where it should be. It looks really good. Microsoft has a solid conference too. Like, we know a new Battletoads is coming. Cyberpunk 2077 looks fucking sick. I can't wait to see how that game's fleshed out, because it looks incredibly ambitious and incredibly interesting. Microsoft, what they need to do is they need to start working on solid first-party titles, like the way Sony has Sucker Punch and Guerrilla Games and all of these amazing studios. The first-party studios that make stuff like God of War, Polyphony Digital that makes Gran Turismo, just all of these amazing studios. Like, that's the biggest thing Xbox needs. And what Sony needs to do at the same time is just let fucking people play Fortnite on other platforms. Like, this is shaping up to be the next big debacle past, like, the fucking Star Wars Battlefront 2 controversy. You know, like, you got Microsoft and Nintendo, like, just completely hamming it up and eating Sony's lunch over this shit. And Sony's basically gone on record to say, oh, well, you know, it's a business decision and burp-a-derp-a-derp, you know, like, you got kids with PS4s and all they want to fucking do is play the most popular game on planet Earth right now with people who just happen to have a PC or a Nintendo Switch or an Xbox One or a goddamn cell phone. Like, they've released mobile versions of Fortnite and PUBG on phones, and they're apparently supposed to work pretty well, actually. Sony making a huge deal out of this and not wanting to play ball with anybody else just makes them look like assholes. I don't see what the big deal is. I know they kind of want to have a lock on their platform and be very scrutinous about what goes on it and what doesn't, but at the same time, you got to make exceptions if you want to keep your fan base around. It's a balancing act. It always is. So hopefully there's a solution to that soon. Hopefully other people don't have to, like, link and unlink their Fortnite account or open up a second Fortnite account just to play Fortnite on PlayStation, which is utterly ridiculous, especially when there's cosmetics you can tie to your account on Fortnite. Like, I haven't played a ton of Fortnite, but you know, it's one of the central things that's in the news when it comes to video games right now. So Sony really needs to work on that. But yeah, that was pretty much E3. A lot of good stuff coming out. Granted, most of it's not going to be playable till next year. You know, if it doesn't get pushed back even farther. And yeah, I thank you so much for watching this. I don't know why you would, but if you made it this far, you know, thank you so much for tuning in. I wish I had more time to make videos. You know, it's hard working full-time, being a father. I have so much stuff going on right now. I have had a absolutely crazy fucking year this year so far. And unfortunately, YouTube videos, editing videos, that's always gets pushed down to the list, unfortunately. So, but I'm glad I can, you know, at least do this once a year and keep this little tradition going. It's very nice to sit down in front of the camera and make my notes, you know, dish about E3, what's going on in the video game industry at the present. As far as what I'm playing right now, like I said, I have a Nintendo Switch. I wish I had more time to play it. I have like Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey, the Bayonetta 2 with Bayonetta 1 collection, Mario Kart 8, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Cave Story Plus I bought. I recently bought Mario Tennis Aces, but I hardly played it at all. It's just been sitting on my shelf begging to be played, and I just haven't had the time. Hopefully that'll change soon. I've been fooling around with the PS4 here and there. The Xbox One's still my primary platform. I'd like to get money within the next couple of years and build a new gaming PC, because there's classic PC games I'd like to revisit, and as well as newer ones I'd like to check out. So that's on the horizon. Just need time. I need a little extra money, and right now I don't have a lot of either of both right now. So I will make videos when I can, guys. Like I said, thanks for watching again. Thanks for listening to me babble incoherently. But I'm going to cut this off. I'll be keeping an eye on some of those great announcements. I look forward to E3 next year. I look forward to making a video every year. I can possibly do this as long as I have interest in doing it. I just do this shit as a hobby, you know, to help me vent a little bit, to help me vocalize my thoughts a little bit, whatever you want to call it. And I am going to go relax and get a drink and play some more poker on Xbox One, because out of the 400 some games I have in my ready to install list, Prominence Poker has to be the one I'm addicted to now. So I like playing free to play games. That's kind of like my shtick, to see how they work, to see how they play. And you know, most of them are pretty good, most of them are bad, most of them are good. There's a few bad apples in the batch. There always is. I was playing Gigantic. Real shame what's going to happen to Gigantic. That's going to close down at the end of the month. But if you're like me and you've been playing the hell out of it at the start of the year, and then all of a sudden you try to log in one day and you get an authentication error, and there's really no support staff for a game that's closing down in a month or two, so they can't do anything about it, so I can't play Gigantic anymore, which sucks because it's the only game that's classified as a MOBA that I actually enjoyed so far. So that was fun while it lasted. I have some gameplay footage of Gigantic backed up. I'll make a montage of that on my channel sometime soon. Real shame about that game though. Gigantic was a fantastic game. I had a lot of fun playing it. Just a shame I had that login error and I couldn't log in anymore. And I'm definitely not the only one with that problem. More people are coming up with that problem, but the game's being shut down in less than a month, so it really doesn't matter, does it? I wish someone would come along and save it. I wish someone would come along and make a game like Gigantic, but, you know, who knows? I guess we'll just have to stay tuned and see what happens with that. But that's all for me. You guys have a great summer. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you're having fun with your video games no matter what platform you're playing on. Have fun, guys. Life is short. Enjoy it. Be happy. Spread love. You know, the world needs more love, more happiness. You know, with all the horrible shit we see on the news every day, with all the horrible things that are going on in the world, yeah, just try and be positive. I try to. I admit it, as the older I get, and the more our world goes to shit, the harder it gets. But, you know, the point I'm trying to make is have a good time, have fun, play video games, no matter what platform they're on. Don't look down at someone because they're on a different platform than you. If you can't play Fortnite with your friends on PS4, look down on Sony for that because they're being fucking dicks about it. But that's not your friend's fault, that's Sony's fault. The PS4 platform has a lot of strengths to it, and if they just make the, you know, if they just work out the crossplay shit, everyone will be better for it. So I don't know what's going on, but then again, I'm not going to sit here and play armchair CEO or armchair game developer. So hopefully it works out soon, and hopefully everyone gets to play with each other and have a good time, because at the end of the day, guys, that's what video games are all about. I'm Moraduke, and I'm signing off, and you guys take care. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.